Chapter 828. After the trip to Mount Hua was over, they still chose to return by water. The canal that the fleet had taken was not frozen again. There were many small boats wandering on the surface of the river. As long as there was the slightest sign of ice, someone would smash it. Only when the imperial court's large ship passed by did the small boats approach the shore one after another, waiting obediently for inspection. Fish, fish, I see fish. Someone go and buy it. Xiao Bei, who was standing on the deck, rubbed his hands that were red from the cold. He put down his binoculars and ordered the person in charge of protecting him. This person immediately went to do it. It was not easy for other people to suddenly stop the current emperor's fleet, but Xiao Bei's ship was an exception. Xiao Bei imagined the scene of the big fish being placed on a plate after it was done and praised herself. Xiao Bei is really good to Xiao Yuan. Xiao Yuan loves to eat this the most. And I'll go ask Uncle Emperor. Xiao Bei is a good child. He did as he said. A few ropes were shot from this ship to the ship in front, and a pontoon bridge was temporarily built. Under the protection of a few people, Xiao Bei switched to another ship. After doing this 2 more times, he finally arrived at the ship that Li Longji was on. Li Longji did not care about the cold outside, and was enthusiastically admiring the endless scenery on both sides of the canal with a group of officials. The flowing water, the snow-white land, and the gray sky. When Li Longji looked at it, he felt that it was so beautiful and enchanting. Even the sparrows that flew around and chirped incessantly were more lively than before. Zhang Shua, who had been feeling a little uneasy recently, did not stay too far away from Li Longji. He stood 2 steps behind Li Longji and admired the scenery together. However, he could not see anything that was pleasing to the eye. The river that was supposed to be frozen looked so glaring. In the distance, a field of white showed the bleakness of the earth. Who knew how many grains the sparrows had secretly eaten, but they were still so fat. The sky was so gloomy that it made people feel gloomy. Li Longji did not know what Zhang Shua was thinking. In any case, he was happy, and anything he saw made him happy. Even the people who were anxiously selling things at high prices during the last few days before the new year became lively in his eyes. A commotion came from afar. Li Longji raised his binoculars and looked in that direction. He saw a person who had just arrived at the riverside market with a pole. Before the pole could be put down, he was surrounded by many people. Actually, it wasn't that far, only about 400 steps away. If it was in the past, no one would be allowed to get so close, as it could easily bring about danger. However, the ship was now equipped with guns that could fire continuously. There were also people observing the situation from the observation deck. Li Longji was confident that no one could get close enough to hurt him. 300 steps. That was the line between life and death. Therefore, they did not continue to disturb the people, and allowed them to have a more peaceful time before the new year. Zhang Shua, who was behind him, didn't understand the emperor's thoughts. When he saw the emperor looking over, he thought it was disgust. He quickly ordered the people around him. Go, let the guards on the shore disperse those people. Just as the person who received the order was about to carry it out, Li Longji spoke up. Wait a moment. Why is Minister Zhang chasing them away? Mortals disturbed the emperor's heart. Your Majesty, this matter cannot be allowed to continue. Otherwise, how will the people know of your Majesty's majesty? Zhang Shua, who had always felt that he could see through the emperor's thoughts, was puzzled this time. He chose to say something good. Without waiting for Li Longji to speak, Xiao Bei, who had run all the way here unimpeded, heard Zhang Shua's words and helped to refute. Big bad Zhang. Oh, it's Lord Zhang who misspoke. Xiao Bei often heard my elder brothers and sisters say that the emperor's heart is the people's heart. The people are the most important, followed by the country, and the monarch is the least important. Only when the people are living well can it prove that Uncle Emperor is powerful. That person must have picked out mountain goods to sell, and can sell them for a good price before the new year. If we chase them away, how are we going to spend the new year? After saying this, Xiao Bei raised her head. She suddenly felt that she was not inferior to Xiao Yuan. She could also remember a lot of words that sounded good. Zhang Shua was very uncomfortable after being lectured by Xiao Bei, especially when he heard the way Xiao Bei addressed him. It was impossible to say that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had nothing to do with this matter. But he also knew that he could not lower himself to the same level as a child. He smiled and patted Xiaobei's head. Xiaobei really knows a lot. The market is also convenient for the people's daily business. Of course. If my elder brother says it's possible, then it's definitely possible. Building the bridge is convenient for the people, and there are more taxes. It's a good thing, especially for the merchants who come and go. They have earned enough money, so they should give some to the people. Xiaobei dodged a few steps to the side. Her hair had been styled for 4 hours, so she couldn't let anyone mess it up. What if Big Bad Zhang stealthily took away the luminous pearl on the hairpin? Zhang Shuo did not know what Xiaobei was thinking. He continued to ask Xiaobei with a smile. Then what if the merchants work together to deliberately lower the price? That's impossible. Between the clouds and the water and blue sea silver sand have already given the lowest price. If the merchants do not give enough, the sellers will organize themselves to sell to between the clouds and the water and blue sea silver sand. No one is a fool. The merchants will at least give the same price. Xiaobei seemed to know a lot, so she explained to Zhang Shuo. Then wouldn't between the clouds and the water lose money? Zhang Shuo asked again. No, since there are people going to eat, we can just add the price to them. Aya, why are you so annoying? You don't stop asking. So what if it's a little wrong? Do you want to continue to be right? Elder brother and elder sister said that this is the rule. When a mistake is made to a certain extent, the new rule will definitely replace the old one. At worst, we can just use a new method. Time after time, it always keeps people on their toes. Xiaobei answered 2 questions and felt annoyed. She came here with a purpose, not to chat with Zhang Shuo. Although Zhang Shuo, the prime minister, had an extraordinary position in many people's hearts, that did not include her and her elder brothers and sisters. Zhang Shuo was taken aback when he heard Xiaobei's words. Xiaobei might not have said it intentionally, but the listener took it seriously. He suddenly realized why he had been feeling uneasy recently. Ultimately, it was because of the position of prime minister, the head of the secretariat. But ever since the emperor had ascended the throne, there had not been a single prime minister who had been able to remain in this position for too long. Could it be that his time had come? No, this was absolutely impossible. He had to think of a way to continue staying in this position. Li Longji did not know what Zhang Shuo was thinking, but he was happy when he saw Xiaobei. In the entire Great Tang, it seemed that only the children of the Zhang family and Wang family were the most adorable. Xiaobao and Cuckoo had grown up, and Xiaobei's group of little fellows had begun to appear. Pulling Xiaobei over, Li Longji squatted down and pointed at the faraway market. Why are there so many people there? Li Longji's answer was that it was almost the new year, and that they were busy preparing for the new year. He thought that Xiaobei would give the same answer. Unexpectedly, Xiaobei chose a different answer. Because they have money. The lives of the common people are better than before, so they have more spare money to buy things. The new year is actually not a single night. It is a kind of spirit, a kind of inheritance that comes from the previous generations. As long as the common people know that they are homesick for the new year, this nation will not be defeated by others. It is very difficult for a nation without an inheritance to accumulate its own history and civilization. If one is not careful, it will be like a flash in the pan. Aya, Xiaobei knows so much. Li Longji hugged Xiaobei and praised him. It was Big Brother and Big Sister who said it. They also said that while it seems like celebrating the new year is a kind of habit, when you look deeper, you will realize that it comes from the solemnity of the soul. Aya, in any case, I don't understand. In any case, Big Brother and Big Sister will be very happy during the new year next year. And I will also be very happy. Xiaobei could not understand too much, so he could only repeat. Li Longji was stunned by Weiwei's words. He had not thought about it carefully before, but now that he thought about it, it really was the case. The dynasty had changed, but the new year had not. What he felt more was the happiness in his heart. Xiaobei had spoken well. The lives of the common people were better than before, so he naturally had to take a large part of the credit. Giving Xiaobei a big kiss, Li Longji amiably asked, Xiaobei, you answered well. We want to reward you. Xiaobei, what do you want? Really? Xiaobei was excited. She already had her goal when she came here, but she did not know what to say. She did not expect that the task would be delivered to her. A monarch's words are not to be taken lightly. As long as we can do it, we will definitely do it. However, we cannot just randomly find someone to help you vent your anger. There must be evidence. For example, the people who were arrested last time, and the people who were first impeached by you. Li Longji had been in a good mood these past few days, so he very happily agreed. Xiaobei waved her fist. Yay! Uncle Emperor, I will say it now. Xiaobei wants an official position. Didn't you just get promoted? Li Longji did not expect that Xiaobei would still want an official position. This official position could not be promoted anymore. How many people would be unconvinced if a group of children were given a fourth-rank official position? If the court officials did not understand that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's efforts and gains were considered small, they would have already killed themselves in the morning court. Xiaobei stretched out 2 fingers, her thumb and index finger, and gestured. I don't want a high-ranking official, I want a low-ranking official. A very, very low-ranking one. A 7th rank or 8th rank official. Xiaobei knows that people need to know how to restrain themselves. As the saying goes, a tree that stands out from the forest will be blown away by the wind. Right, Xiaobei knows a lot. What kind of official position do you want? Li Longji was amused. He kissed Xiaobei again and asked. A low-ranking one. For example, a county magistrate, deputy county magistrate, registrar, songji and brush official are also fine. Isn't it very low-ranking? Xiaobei and Xiaoyuan Gij, Xiaozhu Gij, Xiaohai Gij, Xiaonan Gij, and Xiaonan Gij are not afraid of standing out from the forest. Xiaobei had a very sensible look on her face as she seriously explained to Li Longji. Li Longji was stunned. Zhang Shua, who had just recovered, was also stunned. Isn't this called standing out from the forest? How old were Xiaobao and Cuckoo when they became the county magistrate and registrar respectively? They only got those positions after the 2 of them went on a killing expedition in Tubo. How much did Xiaobao harm Tubo? How did Cuckoo get her nickname of Demon? Those 2 positions were made from the blood of countless people. You also want them? Isn't this a joke? Xiaobei found that the 2 people's expressions were not right. She lowered her head, thought for a while, and asked tentatively. Uncle Emperor, is it difficult? If it's really impossible, then forget it. When I told Xiaoyuan, he didn't agree. When we return to Jili province, I will learn from my brother and sister. When Xiaobei said this, Li Longji suddenly reacted. After thinking for a while, he made a decision in his heart. It's not difficult at all. Who is our Xiaobei? She is. Isn't she the one that everyone loves? The one that flowers bloom when he sees her? The one that comes when he sees her? The one that comes when the sun shrouds the sky? Xiaobei praised herself. Ah, yes, that's right. Minister Zhang, listen to my orders. Li Longji laughed heartily and said to Xiaobei with a straight face. This official is here. Xiaobei also had a serious expression as she blinked her big eyes and waited for her orders. I will abolish Jian and province's governor's office and set up 3 new counties. Zhang Xiaobei will be Jianan County Magistrate, Wang Xiaoyuan will be Jianan County Registrar, and Uncle Emperor can't do it. Xiaoyuan can't be a registrar. Only Xiaohai Gij can be a registrar. Xiaoyuan doesn't know how to calculate. Oh, Your Majesty, please continue. Xiaobei suddenly interrupted Li Longji's words. Thinking of the current situation, she became obedient. Oh, then Zhang Xiaohai will be Jianan County Registrar, Xiaoyuan will be County Magistrate, and Li Longji gave all 9 people their positions in one breath. Zhang Shua wanted to stop him. Wouldn't this be child's play? If he gave them positions just like that, how would the other officials view him? However, when he heard that all the positions were from Jili province, Zhang Shua gave up on the idea of stopping him. Now in Jili province, other than the official who was transferred from outside to be trained by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, all the other officials were from the inner court of the Zhang family and Wang family. Jianan province's governor's office was already in name only. There was no one left. What was the point of keeping it? If it was to be removed, then so be it. Since that was the case, when Xiaobei and the others became officials, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan would be in charge. He didn't believe that the two of them would dare to let Xiao Bei and the others manage a county. Xiao Bei solemnly promised that she would improve the intelligence of that place. Suddenly, she thought of the story told by her brother and sister, and felt that she should share it with others. She then said to Li Longji, "Our Tang Empire is still very weak. My brother and sister said that on the other side of the sea, in a very, very far away place, there are powerful countries. They can make big birds that can carry hundreds of people and fly in the sky. They can also make fast fish that can swim underwater. They can also carry many people. If they attack us, we will be in trouble." Is there really such a place? How did Xiao Bao and Cuckoo know? Li Longji's originally happy mood was suddenly covered with a layer of shadow. If it was someone else who said this, he would definitely not take it to heart. However, since it was from Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, it was probably not wrong. He had seen the magical cannon, tried the hot air balloon, and also seen the glider that allowed people to fly back and forth. If there was a more powerful place, what should he do? "I heard it from others," Xiao Bei replied. Yes, I heard it from others." Li Longji's first thought was of the experts from the Zhang clan and Wang clan. Could it be that the two of them had come from another place? That was really possible. The hot air balloon that carried the two of them had probably broken down, and the two of them were unable to return. If that was really the case, then the two of them had been able to teach people like Xiao Bao and Cuckoo and create many things that had never been seen before. How many people like the two of them were there in that place? And how long had it taken them to develop? When he thought of this, Li Longji's blood immediately turned cold. He was afraid that even more people would come from that place. Would the great Tang be able to deal with them? "Xiao Bei, hurry and call your brother and sister over. We have something to ask them." Li Longji wanted to confirm if what Xiao Bei had said was true. "Oh, Uncle Emperor, wait a moment. I'll go right away." Uncle Emperor, can't you just send a signal? I'm also very tired from running back and forth," Xiao Bei replied. He turned around and ran 2 steps before suddenly stopping in his tracks. He felt that he was very foolish. The signal was sent, and it was quickly received by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. This telegram is really too difficult to make. Isn't it just a short circuit and a channel? It's really tiring to make. Those craftsmen who claim to be amazing haven't even mastered the principles after so long. What a waste of money. Let's go and see Li Longji. I wonder what he's up to this time." Zhang Xiaobao looked at Wang Wan, who was drawing the telegram, and felt dizzy. Wang Wan hadn't finished the telegram yet, and now that Li Longji had sent the message over, he could relax a little. Wang Wan rolled up the telegram and rubbed her temples. As she walked out with Zhang Xiaobao, she said, "The conditions are tough now, and we have to work hard to overcome them. Back then, simple things are difficult here. It's a problem with the raw materials, and we have to work hard." Did something happen to Little Bei again? Someone just reported that Little Bei went over. When the two of them arrived at Li Longji's ship and listened to Li Longji's story, they finally understood what was going on. In order not to make Little Bei and the others proud, they did not think too much when they told stories. They even told them about planes, submarines, and other things. Naturally, the place they appeared in was a powerful country overseas. They did not expect Li Longji to believe them. The two of them looked at each other and reached an agreement. Then they began to tell Li Longji about how planes flew, how submarines could travel underwater, the power of missiles, and the speed of torpedoes. "Can we really attack from Luzhou to the capital?" Li Longji was frightened. Wasn't that too far? Li Longji broke out in cold sweat when he thought about the situation when he encountered such a weapon. If the people from that faraway place attacked, how could he defend himself? Of course, it's very powerful, but Zhang Xiaobao felt that he had scared Li Longji enough. He should at least give Li Longji some hope. However, if my great Tang develops another weapon, we can detect their missiles ahead of time and intercept them. We can also mark out a place on the ocean so that as long as they reach that place, we can attack them and not let them get too close. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not mention satellites and intercontinental ballistic missiles. Li Longji was not confident, let alone nuclear bombs. Otherwise, with an intercontinental ballistic missile and a nuclear bomb, the capital would be gone with a bang. Li Longji would have to live to his heart's content while he was still alive. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan hoped that Li Longji would maintain his current shrewdness, and not be like the people in history who would relax after reaching a certain age, and think that Great Tang was invincible. No matter how tired Li Longji was, he could not guess what the two were thinking. When he heard that there was a way to intercept them, he placed his hopes on this matter. Xiaobao Cuckoo, tell me the truth. Do you know when they will attack? At least 40 years, right? It's not easy to get here. I heard from Master that the two of them were already in a lot of trouble, and almost died on the way. Oh, Master saw them in a dream. Zhang Xiaobao said seriously to Li Longji. Wang Wan had a heavy expression as if this was true. However, in her heart, she was cursing Zhang Xiaobao's shamelessness. If not for the fact that Zhang Xiaobao wanted to conquer the entire Eurasian continent in his lifetime, why would he make up such a lie? Li Longji's face was a little pale. He nodded and said, that's good, that's good. Hurry up and create something that can intercept them. Tell us what you need. Li Longji did not believe in Zhang Xiaobao's dream at all. In his heart, he had already acknowledged the existence of experts from the Zhang family and Wang clan. As a liar, Zhang Xiaobao knew that Li Longji did not trust him that much. He had to come up with something even more miraculous. When he thought about the telegraph machine that Wang Wan had asked people to create, he suddenly had an idea. Your Majesty, that thing is not easy to make. It requires more craftsmen and materials. Some of the materials might not be available in Great Tang, but this subject feels that if we continue to head east and north, we should be able to find them. Adjunct Wang and this subject are currently thinking of something new. Your Majesty will know once we make it. I heard from Master in this subject's dream that this thing is very common in that place. In fact, it might not even be used. It can be used to receive news from the other side within a few breaths of time. Your Majesty, there's no need to be anxious. We should first stabilize the situation. At the very least, there aren't any powerful countries in the surrounding area. Minister Zhang's words are correct. Hurry up and make that thing so that we can take a look. Li Longji didn't know what to feel at this time. He wanted to believe in Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, but he also felt that this was a little unreliable. If he said that he didn't believe in them, he would have to admit that many things were made. Thus, he could only decide to take a look. If there really was something that could send news from 100 li away, no matter what, he had to find a way to support the two of them in finding craftsmen to make this amazing thing. At this point, the conversation between the three of them came to an end. After successfully swindling Li Longji, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan returned to their ships. Li Longji waited for the two of them to leave for 15 minutes before emerging from the cabin. There was no longer any trace of joy on his face, and his eyes were very grave. When someone came to report that Zhu Zan and Qida were very obedient, he only nodded. He looked at the ships of the surrounding countries and gave a self-mocking smile. Small countries, just small countries. If they're destroyed, then so be it. Who dares to disobey the might of cannons? They're just fish and shrimp in the river, so how could they know the vastness of the ocean? If I tell them about missiles, they'll be scared to death. Li Longji muttered to himself. He suddenly realized that he didn't need to care about the Tufan and the Turkic Khaganate anymore. Hurry up and do it. Didn't you say that telegrams are easy to make? Do it first and let Li Longji see it. Even if you want to lie, you have to make sure that it's true and false. After returning to the cabin, Zhang Xiaobao urged Wang Wan as he ground an ink stick. What's the hurry? If you can do it, you can do the drawing. Things aren't as simple as you think. I reckon that this game between us and Li Longji will last for a very long time. As long as we can get the telegram out and make him believe it, we can gradually raise the foundation of the entire industrial system. He will be constantly afraid of us. It's really not easy. What if there's a gap in the technological tree? Wang Wan asked Zhang Xiaobao as she unfolded the drawing once more. She picked up the brush and prepared to continue. Zhang Xiaobao rubbed the brush a few times with all his might, but he didn't find any effect. He slowed down again and replied, back when we were making the atomic bomb, our other industrial systems couldn't keep up, but didn't we still manage to make it? It's the same now. Back then it wasn't that we couldn't keep up. It was those 10 years that caused us to suffer. How many decades do we have in life? How many times do we still have ambitions? Forget it, it's all in the past. It's useless to talk about it anymore. You should think of a way to make a special place. Don't put it in Changning. I always feel that that place is not under our control. Wang Wan's words were filled with endless resentment and regret. After saying this, she changed the topic. Zhang Xiaobao stopped what he was doing. He closed his eyes and thought for a while. He said, "We can't put it in the seaside. Let's put the industrial base in Sanshui County. There are mountains behind it. Throw it in the mountains. When the children in Zhuangzi who have studied physics and chemistry are older and have mastered all the high school knowledge, we can let them join." "That's the only way," Wang Wan replied. She began to think about her telegraph machine again. This thing was not difficult. The principle was there. But when it came to making it, the craftsmen couldn't keep up with it. It was often a very simple problem. If they wanted to understand it thoroughly, they usually needed more knowledge to explain it. After a few days of sailing, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were busy. Xiaobei and the others were excited. Li Longji returned to the capital with a lot on his mind. To be honest, Zhu Zan and Mo Jilian had never seen the prosperity of the capital. The information they got from others was far less shocking than seeing it with their own eyes. From the outside, there was not a single trace of brick or stone on the high city walls. It was as flat as a mirror. Pedestrians shuttled back and forth on the wide streets, and carriages kept moving. The trees on the sides of the roads, the gutters used for drainage, and the places where people walked on bricks made people feel that this was a very magical place. The first impression of people who had never been to the Tang Empire's capital was that it was big. It was very big, so big that it was a little scary. They didn't know how many people such a city could hold. The second feeling was wealth. Not a single person was begging on the streets. Everyone was wearing beautiful clothes, especially the women. They were wearing clothes that looked like they would freeze to death in winter, but they were actually so alluring. Mo Jilian really wanted to enter the palace to take a look. He didn't have the chance. He only took a few glances in the morning court. He didn't understand. Previously, when he came to the capital, he couldn't lift the curtains and look outside. At that time, he was sitting in a sealed carriage. Since the other places in the capital were so good, the palace would be even better. But Li Longji didn't give them such an opportunity. At least, he couldn't give it to them now. He needed to let them walk around the capital. After they were shocked enough, he would bring them to Xingqing Palace and let them see what an extraordinary place was. The matter of arranging accommodation for others naturally didn't need Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The two of them brought their families back to Savant's restaurant. At this time, their families had already arrived. Zhang Zhong knew that his son and daughter-in-law had returned. He personally went to the entrance of the restaurant to welcome them. Seeing his son who had grown taller, his face was full of smiles. "We're home, we're home." Xiaobei happily jumped into the arms of Jiang Wang clan and kissed her mother. They hadn't seen each other for a long time. She also missed her mother. She was much more sensible now. "Io, Xiaobei has grown so big. Auntie won't be able to carry you anymore." Jiang Wang clan hugged Xiaobei and said happily, "I can carry you." Xiaobei learned from brother. "My body seems to be weightless." "Mother, Xiaobei knows how to cook chives and scrambled eggs." Brother even praised Xiaobei for it. Xiaobei hugged Jiang Wang clan's neck and said excitedly. Seeing that her daughter wasn't shy with strangers, Jiang Wang clan carried Xiaobei upstairs and praised her. Xiaobei was so happy that her face bloomed like a flower. After everyone had settled down, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan found their father. They gathered together and discussed their positions after the new year. "Father, which ministry do you want to be a minister?" Zhang Xiaobao poured tea for the two families. He looked at his father and asked, "Father, which ministry do you want to be a minister?" When Father Zhang heard his son's words, he fell silent. He also didn't know which place was suitable for him. When he was in Luoyang, he didn't encounter the situation that he had mentioned earlier. No one tried to trip him up. Every time he had an idea, he would always be able to get support. Zhang Zhong understood that this wasn't because he was capable, but because his son and daughter-in-law worked hard outside. Everyone was afraid of his 2 children. He hadn't been idle during this period of time and had learned a lot. If he were to look at the 6 ministries, it seemed that any one of them would do. He mainly wanted to see what his son had in mind. While Zhang Zhong was thinking, Zhang Xiaobao wasn't in a hurry. He waited quietly. After almost 15 minutes, Zhang Zhong said, "Xiaobao, which ministry do you think is suitable for me to go to?" "Ah, you're asking me? I think the Ministry of Works should be a minister. My father-in-law can go to the Ministry of War and be an assistant minister. If you feel tired, you can go to the Ministry of Rights." Zhang Xiaobao thought about it and decided on his father's position. As for Wang Wan's father, he couldn't let him be an official that was too high. He wasn't cut out for it, and it had nothing to do with knowledge. It would be fine if he could be like Yang Guozhong, but he couldn't compare. As for the Ministry of Works, it was because his plan required a lot of craftsmen. The imperial court would definitely not let them go. If it was an incompetent official who was always looking for trouble, he might as well let his father be it. Wang Wan nodded in support. "I think it's fine. He can go to the Ministry of Works as a minister. As for my father, he can go to the Ministry of Rights. There are too many things to do at the Ministry of War. My father will be tired." Father Wang didn't say anything. He knew that if he really relied on his own abilities, he wouldn't even be able to become an official, much less an assistant minister. All of this was because he had a good daughter. He didn't have any hopes in this life. In the future, he would have to rely on his son, Xiao Yuan. He believed that with Xiao Yuan's photographic memory and his daughter's and son-in-law's abilities, he would definitely be able to obtain a very good future. Seeing that his son had set his sights on the Ministry of Works, Zhang Zhong nodded and agreed. "Since that's the case, I'll listen to my son Xiaobao." These words were said very casually. After he finished speaking, Zhang Zhong looked at Zhang Wang clan and suddenly felt an inexplicable feeling. Zhang Wang clan replied with a smile. She understood what she meant. Zhang Zhong sighed inwardly. He didn't know what to say. What was he discussing with his son just now? It was about the ownership of a minister in the capital. Normally, this kind of problem couldn't be discussed in his own home. When he was preparing to rely on the imperial examinations, he never thought that there would be a day like this. The ownership of a minister depended on his son. It could be said that it was decided. This should be considered bringing honor to the ancestors, right? Looking at the other 9 children sitting obediently beside him, Zhang Zhong felt as if he was in a dream. Not long ago, he would have thought about today's matter. Zhang Xiaobao didn't have any other thoughts. "Okay, then it's decided. Father, you haven't eaten yet, right? I'll go and prepare now." As he spoke, Zhang Xiaobao stood up and walked outside. Wang Wan naturally followed. When the two were about to walk out of the door, Zhang Xiaobao suddenly shouted, "Brother, I want to eat vinegar." After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan left, the old master of the Zhang family picked up his teacup and leisurely blew twice. He tried to use a calm tone as he said, "The position of minister has been decided just like that? Will someone try to steal it from my son?" Zhang Zhong hurriedly comforted him. "Father, no one can steal it. If Xiaobao says it's the minister, then it's the minister. If he says it's the Ministry of Works, then it can't be the Ministry of Revenue. I believe in Xiaobao." These words happened to be heard by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who were not too far away. Wang Wan pursed her lips and smiled. "It seems that your status in the family is getting higher and higher. You can decide the position of minister. What's the point of being minister? If you really annoy me, I can even decide the position of emperor. And that, since you already know my ability, you have to listen to me more in the future. You can't refute me. Do you understand?" Zhang Xiaobao raised his head and puffed out his chest, trying hard to show a proud appearance. "Yes, this concubine understands. Does my husband have anything else to say?" Wang Wan knew that she could spend a few more days with her family. In her happiness, she compromised a little to give Zhang Xiaobao some face. Zhang Xiaobao nodded and said, "You're quite obedient. Since that's the case, I'll invade you tonight." "Bah, your face is really big. Do you want to sleep on the floor? I'll stay with my mother today. You can go wherever you want. Isn't that giving you some sunshine? Let's go. What are you waiting for? Go, we'll go now." Madam, please calm down. I'll make your favorite cucumber with garlic sauce later. Zhang Xiaobao stopped while he was ahead. It was good to satisfy his craving for food. When Zhang family and Wang family were happy, Empress Wang was also very happy. It was not easy to stay in the palace. She came out and went to Savant's pavilion to see her son and daughter. The two little ones had grown up a lot and could call out mother. They could keep up with the nutrition. In addition, there was a reasonable way to train the babies. Now the two little ones could already run. They could run, but they did not know how to walk. Once they walked, they would fall. When they ran, they could not stop themselves. If they did, they would fall. Someone had to be in front of them to stop them. When she saw the two little ones, Empress Wang was happy and sad. She was happy because the two little ones were not bad. They were white and chubby. Their little hands were moving and could make several kinds of hand gestures. He was sad that his own children didn't recognize him. He fed Softy something edible and took out toys to play with. Only then did the two little fellows let him hug them. These were his own son and daughter. After seeing her son and daughter, Empress Wang did not want to return to the palace. She insisted on staying outside for a few more days to accompany the two little ones. Wang Wan also agreed. After all, the more time the two of them spent together, the less the novelty would be. It was just right for Empress Wang to be separated from Li Longji for 10 to 15 days. Maybe after they went back, they could give birth to twins. That would be lively. Li Longji also took some time to come out and see his son and daughter. His son was very good-looking. He was not inferior to Li Yi in the past. In fact, he was even cuter now that he had grown up. Li Longji, who did not care much about women, changed his mind when he saw Pan-er. This was not because Pan-er was good-looking, but because of Princess Jincheng, who said that a married princess could not come back, who said that the women of the imperial clan would be bullied outside. Just look at Princess Jincheng and ask Zuzan if he dared to bully her. All of this was strength. Overwhelming strength. Dignity was gained from the roar of the cannons. After amiably chatting with the Zhang family and Wang family for a while, they decided that after the new year, Zhang Zhong would enter the imperial court and become the Minister of Works. Li Longji left happily. After returning, it was unknown who leaked this matter. When they heard that Zhang Zhong had returned from Luoyang, he did not even greet anyone, and was going to become the Minister of Works. The jealous people glared at him until their eyes were as red as the robes of the fourth-rank officials. Before the new year, when the holidays were about to start, many memorials were sent to Gao Lisher. He did not say anything. Although he was the head of the secretariat, many of the memorials that required the emperor's approval were all approved by Gao Lisher. Recently, he had not been able to sleep well. He was afraid that he would do something wrong again, and offend someone he should not offend. When the time came, he would lose his official position. Now he did not want to compete with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan anymore. He only hoped that the two of them would not have any ideas about him. Li Longji seemed to have known that this kind of thing would happen. He told Gao Lisher in advance not to let this kind of thing disturb him. He began to look at the various rare animals and plants that were sent back from the south. These things that he did not even dare to think about before appeared in front of him. He could only sigh at the many things that he did not know about in the distant sea. At the same time, he was even more certain about the existence of that country that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had told him about. When the two of them created that thing that could transmit information from 100 kilometers away, then they would begin to carry out that thing called the Industrial Revolution on a national scale. Chapter 829. The festive atmosphere started on the 30th and continued to the 15th of the first lunar month. The appearance of the ice lanterns everywhere made the people of the surrounding countries feel the brilliance of the great Tang once again. More people paid attention to the light bulb, wanting to understand why it lit up, especially Xian Luo and Japan. These two countries were temporarily not under the command of the great Tang, so they were a little ambitious. What they wanted to know the most was whether this light bulb would be used in war, and what it would look like when it was used. Li Longji naturally couldn't tell them. Even if he wanted to tell them, they wouldn't understand. This light bulb was made by the Zhang family and Wang family, and the palace was also using it. However, they only knew how and didn't know why. Zuzan asked for a set and returned to his courtyard in the capital. He planned to return to Tubo after the 2nd of February. During this period of time, he could learn more about new things and see which one could be used in Tubo. Princess Jincheng still helped to inquire about information, but instead of looking for the enemy of the Zhang family and Wang family, she changed to looking for something good to help Tubo. The first thing she found was a washing machine. There was also a small river that didn't flow too fast in Zuzan's courtyard. It was a place for entertainment. After putting it up and seeing that it couldn't move, she found Zhang Xiaobao and changed it to a wind-powered one with the help of the craftsman. Ignoring the cold weather, she poured water for the washing machine in the courtyard and threw the clothes in. Then, she added the washing powder provided by the Zhang family and Wang family, and watched the washing machine spin. Zuzan looked at the washing machine curiously, and then looked at the light bulb. Aren't these the same thing? They are both blown by the wind. Why can one light up to replace candles, and the other can wash clothes? How would Princess Jincheng know? Hearing Zuzan's words, she shook her head and said, Zanpu, this should be the benefits of the industrial system that Xiaobao and Cuckoo mentioned. Now it can only be used by the rich and powerful. Where there is still a need for wind or rivers, in a few years, ordinary people will be able to use it too. Yes, just like that marsh gas. The people of the Great Tang will be more and more comfortable in the future. Zuzan sighed. Right now he no longer cared about anything else. He only hoped that after Tubo joined the Great Tang, the people of Tubo would be able to receive the same benefits as the people of the Great Tang. His original ambition had been completely crushed by reality. Princess Jincheng didn't know what Zuzan Qi was thinking. Seeing so many good things, she said to Zuzan Qi with a worried expression. Zanpu, does Tubo still want to be enemies with Great Tang? I wonder how the Turks are doing. Commissioner K isn't someone who gives up so easily. So what if he doesn't? Could he withstand the bombardment of the Great Tang's artillery? Could he stop the hot air balloons and gliders in the sky? Those two things flying in the sky can throw cannonball-like things down. They are the grenades, the weapons that blew up many of our Tubo people. Zuzan Qi seemed to want to stand on the side of the Great Tang. It also seemed like he wanted to find a reason for his compromise. If the Turks dared to not agree to Li Longji's request, and started a war with the Great Tang, he would be able to comfort himself. It wasn't that he wasn't capable, it was that the Great Tang was too powerful. He couldn't return to the capital yet, but Tu also thought the same. He was very clear that even if Li Longji had the initiative now, he wouldn't let him return to the Song Mo Commander-in-Chief's manor immediately. When the Heishui Commander-in-Chief's manor was taken down and the army turned around, that would be the time for him to return. At that time, even if he was the reincarnation of Chu Boang, he wouldn't be able to turn the situation around. More importantly, it would depend on the reaction of the Turks. If the Turks still wanted to fight, he couldn't return either. He was afraid that he would throw himself into the arms of the Turks. Sigh. Actually, there's no need to do this. I've had enough. I don't want to cause any more trouble. Tu thought about it and said sullenly. After the new year, Zhang Zhong unquestionably entered the Ministry of Works and took up the position of Minister of Shangshu. It turned out that the other people in the Ministry of Works didn't move. Some of these people didn't have any achievements. No matter what, they wouldn't be able to become Minister of Shangshu. Whoever was willing to take up the position would take it. Some of them had built good relations with the previous Minister of Shangshu. Just as they were thinking of taking a step forward in the new year, the person who had received benefits from them was gone. Instead, it was someone they weren't familiar with, or rather, someone they had never dealt with before. Naturally, they were very unhappy. Fan Yu was one of the people who was unhappy. As the registrar of the Ministry of Works, he thought that he would be able to advance further this year. In the end, when he saw Zhang Zhong, who had been a high-ranking official in Luoyang, come to the capital, he couldn't sleep well for several days. Fan Yu knew Zhang Zhong's identity. He also knew that his son was Zhang Xiaobao and his daughter-in-law was Wang Wan. But so what? Could it be that everything in the Great Tang was decided by them? What did Zhang Zhong do to deserve the position of Minister of Shangshu? Did you know what the Ministry of Works did? Others had to learn step by step and work hard. What right did you have to change your position just because you had a formidable son? Fan Yu had an aura of someone who could be killed but not humiliated. The more he looked at Zhang Zhong, the more he found him to be an eyesore. Even though Zhang Zhong had treated him to a meal at Savant's restaurant and promised that as long as he did a good job, he would be able to receive good things from the Zhang clan and Wang clan in the future. Savant's restaurant's food and wine are good, but that isn't a reason for me, Fan Yu, to bend my knees. No matter what, I can't let him have an easy time. Does he know the importance of a secretary? After eating his fill, Fan Yu returned to the office of the Ministry of Works. He brewed a pot of Maojian tea that Zhang Zhong had specially provided for him today, and started to think about how he could create trouble for Zhang Zhong. The secretary was naturally in charge of a part of the account books. There were records of the finances of the Ministry of Works, as well as the inventory and consumption of various items. Thus, Fan Yu set her sights on this. When the time came, Zhang Zhong wouldn't be able to know exactly how much money the Ministry of Works had left. He wouldn't know how many items they had in stock. Fan Yu dug out the accounts one by one and started messing them up. Of course, he had marked down all the areas that he messed up so that he wouldn't be confused when he needed the real data. In the end, when Zhang Zhong was checking on the various matters in various places in the afternoon, he was confused by a few accounts. Whenever he asked, Fan Yu would push all the blame to the previous one, saying that this was what she had done in the past and that it had been passed. That's not right. Didn't the Ministry of Works have 16,500 strings of coins in its account books? Why is there only 4,000 strings of coins left? Where did the money go? When Zhang Zhong saw the final number of the account books, he was puzzled. He turned his head and asked Fan Yu. Fan Yu had a puzzled look on her face. She meant that she didn't know either. Zhang Zhong thought for a while and nodded. All right, let's leave it at that for now. We'll talk about it tomorrow. It's already late today, so go back first. Bring the things I gave you back earlier. In the future, when the Ministry of Works produces better products, there will be other benefits too. Fan Yu replied and didn't say anything else. She packed up and left with the things Zhang Zhong gave her. A person's heart is never satisfied. Zhang Zhong put down the account books and sighed. He understood everything. Originally, he wanted to get along well with his subordinates and help his son build up the industrial system bit by bit. He didn't want to start dealing with people right away. But in the end, things turned out like this. Zhang Zhong, who had let his subordinates get off work earlier, wasn't afraid that someone would impeach him because of this matter. He also packed up. He didn't plan to work today, and wanted everyone to familiarize themselves with each other. Later on, he would find someone to check the background of everyone in the Ministry of Works. He had to record down who was in each family. He even had to record their parents' birthdays. He was concerned about his subordinates. He had done this many times in the past, and the results were pretty good. After returning to Savant's restaurant, Zhang Zhong casually told his son about this matter during dinner. He didn't need his son to help him deal with a registrar official. He could do it himself. It wasn't like he hadn't done it before. The reason why Zhang Xiaobao hadn't returned to Jili province yet was because he was worried that his father's position wouldn't be good. He was afraid that his father's heart would soften. He wanted to wait for his father to settle the matters in the Ministry of Works before leaving. He estimated that it would take about half a month. When he heard his father talking about Fan Yu, he nodded and didn't say anything. She was just a small character, so there was no need to care too much about her. It would be easy for his father to deal with her. At night, he casually chatted with his family for a while before returning to his room to sleep. Who knew that the next morning, right after Zhang Zhong left, Xiao Bei and her team followed him out. Her angry expression made those who knew her know that someone was going to be unlucky. Brother, when the time comes, you have to take a good look at the account books and find out what's wrong so that I can teach him a lesson. He actually dared to play tricks on my father and bully the Zhang family? On the way to the Ministry of Works, Xiao Bei's eyes widened as she discussed with Xiao Hai. Xiao Hai nodded. For the past half a year he was the one who did most of the accounts. Now he could still do the accounts that weren't too complicated and didn't make any mistakes. If he couldn't do it, he would ask his brother and sister. With the difficulty of the accounts that his brother and sister were doing, it shouldn't be difficult to deal with the accounts of the Ministry of Works. Xiao Yuan and the others were also very excited. They could finally open for business again. It wasn't easy to meet one during normal times. They didn't expect that they would be able to continuously have business before and after the new year. Zhang Zhong still didn't know that his son and nephew had come to help. He smoothly entered the Ministry of Works. The gatekeepers also got some benefits and didn't make things difficult for him like Fan Yu. He didn't dare to do anything like Fan Yu. Right after Zhang Zhong entered, Xiao Bei and the others arrived. They got off the carriage and walked straight in. The 100 children formed a team of guards and stood in a square formation to protect them. The gatekeepers of the Ministry of Works really didn't know who Xiao Bei was. If it was the guards of Xingqing Palace, they definitely wouldn't stop them. Instead, they would quickly go in and report to the emperor. Xiao Bei was now able to walk freely in the palace. He could go anywhere. Whose child is this? Where are the adults? This is an important place in the Ministry of Works. You can't enter. The gatekeepers blocked Xiao Bei and tried to persuade him. Xiao Bei didn't bully them. He took out a token and waved it in front of the gatekeepers. I'm Zhang Xiaobei. My brother is Zhang Xiaobao. Today, I'm here to find trouble with the secretary of the Ministry of Works, Fan Yu. If you're not with him, then move aside. If you're with him, so it's Lord Zhang. Please come in. Do you need me to help report your arrival? The gatekeepers finally knew what the legendary Xiao Bei looked like. He quickly moved aside. He didn't believe that anyone would dare to impersonate Xiao Bei. Moreover, the 9 children were all here. That kind of aura of being pampered was not something that an ordinary person could fake. In addition, there were also 100 guards. As for whether the token was real or fake, he didn't see it clearly. Seeing Xiao Bei and the others walk in, the gatekeepers started to mourn for Fan Yu. He knew who Fan Yu was. She was the secretary of the Ministry of Works. It seemed that she was looking for trouble with the newcomer, Zhang Zhong. He already said that the old man had come out after beating the young one. Now that the old man hadn't done anything, the young one had already rushed forward. Zhang Zhong didn't directly look for Fan Yu. He planned to arrange his work for today first. He first went to his office and waited for the morning assembly. The sky was about to brighten. He needed to stay in his office to keep warm so that he wouldn't catch a cold. Fan Yu naturally didn't have the qualifications to attend the assembly. She was a 5th rank official, so she came a little late. She just arrived a little later than Zhang Zhong. She had already prepared her speech, and was just waiting for Zhang Zhong to come and find trouble. In the end, Zhang Zhong didn't come. Instead, it was Xiao Bei and the others who got lost and only found the place after a long time. When Xiao Bei and the others entered the room, everyone who was working in the room stopped what they were doing and looked at the group of children in confusion. Where did this group of children come from? Who is Fan Yu? You're the secretary of the Ministry of Works? Xiao Bei looked around and asked, Who are you? Fan Yu frowned and asked in return when she saw that someone was asking her by name. Xiao Bei looked at the person who spoke. It seems that you are the secretary. Left and right, where are you? Take her down. Understood. As Xiao Bei's voice fell, a chorus of voices rang out from outside. Then, over 20 children rushed in. Under Xiao Bei's instructions, they ran toward Fan Yu, and before Fan Yu could figure out what was going on, she was already on the ground. She was handcuffed and pressed down on him. He tried a few times and was finally pinned down. While the others were puzzled and didn't know how to react, Xiao Bei clasped his hands behind his back and slowly said, This official is a physician and only knows about the matters of the Supreme Court. This official suspects that Fan Yu is bullying his superiors and tampering with the accounts. Does anyone have anything to say? The moment Xiao Bei mentioned his official position, the people from the Ministry of Works immediately knew who he was. Why was this legendary little ancestor here? And he even captured Fan Yu? It was over. They didn't know how Fan Yu had offended someone and offended them. Not to mention that they had evidence, even if they didn't say anything, who in the Ministry of Works didn't give them some benefits. They didn't even investigate. Everyone knew that. Moreover, those benefits weren't worth much. If they really investigated, it wouldn't be worth it. Even the emperor wouldn't care. It would just be a smile. But today, Fan Yu was being targeted by Zhang Xiaobei. This wasn't the case. Everything must be investigated and strictly investigated. From the looks of it, who did he offend? Oh, so that was the case. Fan Yu had offended Minister Zhang. Fan Yu was still not convinced and continued to struggle. You said that I did and I did? What evidence do you have? Even if I did, you can't arrest me. There needs to be a joint trial. Che, are you bullying me because I don't know? There needs to be a joint trial. If I arrest you, can't the Supreme Court arrest you? Today, I'll give you a joint trial. You don't usually have the chance to attend court, right? I'll give you a chance. Take him away. I'll go and talk to Uncle Emperor. My father has just arrived and someone wants to bully him. How can I let this go? With Xiaobei's words, Fan Yu was forced to Hanyuan Palace Hall by Xiaobei and the others without anyone interceding. At this time, the morning court session had already started. All the officials of the 5th rank and above had come here to stand in line. Zhang Zhong also stood slightly at the front, waiting for the discussion. After the morning court session, he probably had to meet with the emperor for a small meeting. Li Longji rushed over in his carriage. Just as he sat down and before he could say anything, he saw over 100 people rushing in. There was even a person being carried. When he took a closer look, it was actually a child. He recognized the person in the lead, Zhang Xiaobei. Because of Xiaobei's appearance, Li Longji could no longer keep a straight face. He didn't know what was wrong with Xiaobei. This was the first time that he came at such a time. He coughed and asked, "Official Zhang, why did you come to court today?" All the officials turned their heads to look. When they heard the emperor's words and saw the angry Xiaobei, they wanted to laugh but held it in. Zhang Zhong also saw his daughter and saw Fan Yu being carried by people. He immediately understood what had happened. His daughter must have remembered what he said during dinner yesterday, and went to find trouble with Fan Yu in the morning. Helplessly shaking his head, Zhang Zhong shouted at Xiaobei. "Xiaobei, what are you doing? Why aren't you withdrawing?" Xiaobei didn't care about what his father said. He raised his head and said to Zhang Zhong, "Minister Zhang, this official is the imperial censor and also the High Commissioner of the Supreme Court. I have the responsibility to supervise all the officials. I hope that Minister Zhang will not overstep his authority." After speaking to his father, Xiaobei didn't look at his father's glare and turned to Li Longji. "Your Majesty, this official has just found out that the registrar of the Ministry of Works, Fan Yu, is acting improperly and the accounts are unclear. This official requests for a joint investigation." The officials were stunned. They didn't expect that Xiaobei would directly arrest Fan Yu and bring her to the palace hall. From the meaning of his words, it seemed that Fan Yu had offended Zhang Zhong. Many people looked at Zhang Zhong. It would be a lie if they said that they weren't jealous. Look at his children. Their father didn't even need to do anything himself, and a bunch of brats would do it for him. Li Longji was stunned for a moment. After pondering for a moment, he immediately understood. This registrar of the Ministry of Works called Fan Yu saw that Zhang Zhong was young and was new to the Ministry of Works. She wanted to find trouble for him. Zhang Zhong should have mentioned this to Xiaobao when he went back. In the end, Xiaobei heard it and chased after her to arrest her. Li Longji looked at Fan Yu from afar. If Xiaobei hadn't caught her, he wouldn't have known who Fan Yu was. Seeing that Fan Yu was still struggling, Li Longji's expression sank. Without a good industrial system, there wouldn't be good weapons. Without good weapons, there wouldn't be any way to intercept a missile. What was Fan Yu trying to do? Recommended book, Tai Sui Rebirth. Chapter 830. As the registrar of the Ministry of Works, Fan Yu's greatest opportunity to show his face appeared in Hanyuan Palace Hall. Following that, he was like a small stone thrown into the ocean. Before the waves could splash much, he was submerged in the tide. As for how much of an impact it had nothing to do with him. Xiaobei left the morning court in satisfaction. She did not participate in any of the court affairs. She wanted to return to Savant's restaurant as soon as possible and find her brother and sister for help. In the court, she had always addressed her father as Minister Zhang. To her, there was nothing more terrifying than this in the world. The sky was falling. She had to conduct a public relations crisis after the morning court ended. The situation was very grim. The morning court in Hanyuan Palace Hall continued as usual. Zhang Zhong was not in the mood to think about how to deal with his daughter. He wanted to let more people agree with his proposal to change the Ministry of Works. When Li Longji finished dealing with the several memorials presented, the first to speak was Zhang Zhong. He held a piece of paper in his hand and read them out one by one. In the end, he requested for the country's finance to allocate funds. 4 million strings of cash? Li Longji was shocked by Zhang Zhong's words. The country's financial income had increased in the past 2 years. Compared to the past, it could be said to be a world of difference. However, to take out 4 million strings of cash at once for one of the 6 ministries seemed to be a little too much. Zhang Zhong also knew that he had opened his mouth too wide. He quickly explained, "Your Majesty, the 4 million strings of cash that I mentioned is a one-time solution. In the future, Your Majesty does not need to take out a single copper coin for the Ministry of Works to be self-reliant. In 2 years, we will definitely be able to recover the money invested." "Your Majesty, I feel that this cannot be done." Just as Zhang Zhong finished speaking, Zhang Shua jumped out and directly objected. All the officials focused their gazes on Zhang Zhong. They wanted to see if the Prime Minister would emerge victorious in his first official confrontation with Zhang Zhong. Zhang Shua felt very helpless. He should not have been the first to object. Instead, it should have been one of his subordinates. He had already used his body language to send the signal. Usually, his subordinates would know what to do as long as they saw his signal. However, it was strange today. His subordinates seemed to have bad eyesight and were in a daze. No one stood up to speak. Gao Lisher also saw this situation. He was very clear in his heart. As the saying goes, one should be soft-hearted after taking advantage of others. Which one of the people who could appear in the morning court had not received benefits from the Zhang family and Wang family? If you don't believe me, you can go house by house and see which house doesn't have furniture with the Zhang family's and Wang family's logos worth a few thousand strings of coins. Today was the first time that Zhang Zhong had attended a court meeting. If anyone dared to cause trouble at this crucial moment, they could forget about counting on the Zhang family and Wang family to continue giving them benefits in the future. Coupled with Xiao Bao and Cuckoo's vengeful personalities, there was bound to be an outcome. Just as Gao Lisher had guessed, the people belonging to Zhang Xiaobao's faction did indeed have such thoughts. They could refuse the things given by the Zhang and Wang families, but they did not dare to offend Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Did they not see what happened to Fan Yu just now? The emperor did not even have the mood to investigate further. He directly sentenced Fan Yu to be exiled to Lingnan. Everyone who was not sent to Luzhou yearned for Fan Yu. This could be considered as sparing Fan Yu's life. Otherwise, when the locals heard that Fan Yu had offended Provincial Governor Zhang, the consequences were self-evident. Li Longji did not say anything. He was waiting for Zhang Shua to say something. He could not just object because he wanted to. He needed a reason. After Zhang Shua finished his objection, he was actually waiting for his people to stand out and agree with him. In the end, all he got was silence. Suppressing the anger in his heart, he continued, "Your Majesty, 4 million strings of coins is not a small amount. Now that the 4 barbarians have submitted, our court should reward them with money and resources to win the hearts of the people. Tubo and the Tujue are not stable yet. In my opinion, we should first provide 2 million strings of coins and resources to support the 2 barbarians, and let them feel our imperial grace. Also, there are many martial manors in the northern part of Hebei province. If we don't appease them, I'm afraid the people will not be able to live and will change." When the officials in the court heard Zhang Shua's words, some of them agreed in their hearts. However, they only agreed in their hearts and did not show it on their faces. Li Longji still did not say anything. He looked at Zhang Zhong and waited for Zhang Zhong to refute. Those who knew Li Longji understood at this moment that the emperor did not seem to agree with Zhang Shua's words. However, they did not know the specific reason. They did not know. But Gao Lisher knew very well that the emperor's thoughts were no longer the same as before. Ever since he knew that there were more powerful people far away in the sea, he no longer cared about the things around him. This was especially true after seeing the spectacular scene of cannons firing at Mount Hua. Why would he care about the troubles around him? He would beat up whoever refused to comply until they submitted. Not to mention 2 million strings of coins, he would not even give them 20,000 strings of coins. Zhang Zhong was also observing the reactions of the officials to see who was on his side and who was on his opposite side. He was quite satisfied with the current result. It was like this when he was in Luoyang. When he proposed something, no one objected. Even if they had different opinions, they would privately discuss it with him. Zhang Zhong also knew that the current Great Tang was not afraid of war. His military factory in Luzhou was constantly producing weapons, and its strength was far above the surrounding countries. However, Zhang Zhong could not say it out loud. He chose another point. Your Majesty, this subject agrees with Lord Zhang's idea of helping the Tufan and the Turkic Khaganate. However, it is better to teach people to fish than to give them a fish. What the Ministry of Works needs to do is to research all kinds of good tools. According to this subject's plan, there will be more good tools in a year's time. At that time, we will give them to the people in other parts of the dynasty to use. Your Majesty, what will we do when the Ministry of Works develops the tools in a year's time? How will the people live this year? Zhang Shuo continued to object. If Great Tang does not give out the tools this year, will the people in other places not be able to live? Naturally, they will live as they have in the past year. At this moment, the person who stood up to speak was Li Linfu, a person Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan wanted to scheme against. At this moment, Li Linfu did not know that someone wanted to deal with him, and he did not know that the reason was because they thought that he would one day stand on that position. He felt that he should help Zhang Zhong. Recently, his family's life had been much better, and it was all because of the benefits given by the Zhang family and the Wang family. In addition, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were still young, and their futures were limitless. He had to choose a side as soon as possible. Zhang Shuo turned his head and glanced at Li Linfu, remembering him. He turned back and continued, Your Majesty, it is different now. The 4 barbarians have just submitted. If we do not give them benefits, this subject is afraid that they will be resentful and start a rebellion. Your Majesty, this subject thinks that Minister Zhang's Ministry of Works plan is feasible, in my opinion. Another person stood up to support Zhang Zhong. Zhang Shuo kept refuting, waiting for people to stand up to support Zhang Zhong one after another. When Zhang Shuo saw that his people were still indifferent, he was finally discouraged. After the morning court session ended, Zhang Zhong happily returned to the Ministry of Works to do some work. He received 4 million strings of coins, but not all at once. According to his plan, it was divided into 3 phases. The first phase only required 800,000 strings of coins, and he received 1 million strings of coins. After the second phase, he could go to the Ministry of Revenue to ask for more money. Zhang Shuo's face was gloomy. He had failed in the confrontation in the court. It was not that he had not failed before, but this time was different. The previous failure was the emperor's final decision, but today's failure was the pressure of the court officials. No one on his side said anything. Was it because they were scared by Fan Yushe? What worried him the most was the emperor's attitude. Although he did not favor any side today, it was still a kind of bias, especially his attitude towards dealing with Fan Yushe before the court session. Zhang Xiaobei had 9 children and caught a registrar of the Ministry of Works. Did he really not ask clearly before convicting him? What happened in the morning court quickly spread to Zhang Xiaobao's ears. Hearing that his father had suppressed Zhang Shuo in the first confrontation, Zhang Xiaobao did not plan to stay in the capital any longer. The plan was made by his father himself, and the matters in the court were also settled by his father himself. He did not need others to continue watching. When it was time to leave, he would leave. He was ready to go back and wait for the people he sent out to bring back good news. When he knew that his brother had decided to leave, Xiaobei was relieved. It seemed that he could leave today, and did not need to worry about his father coming back to find trouble. After the excitement, Xiaobei was a little reluctant. Leaving the capital meant parting with his parents. His brother had said that he had to stay in Jili province for at least a year before he had the opportunity to be an official in the capital. He had to continue waiting for the family reunion. In the afternoon, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan bid farewell to the elders in their family, and led the huge group to Jili province. This time they did not take the waterway. The Yellow River was already frozen, and Zhang Xiaobao did not plan to spend so much money to blast open the river. The losses outweighed the gains, so he chose to take the land route along the river. Now there were wide roads on both sides of the Yellow River, and there were countless merchants and pedestrians coming and going. The wheels of the carriage made creaking noises as it moved on the snow that was scattered with sand. After 2 days of continuous travel, Xiaobei was finally unwilling to follow the large group of people and slowly move about. He suggested that he should go ahead first. Zhang Xiaobao naturally wouldn't object, and let the children do as they please. As soon as he left the group, Xiaobei was like a runaway wild horse. He organized an impromptu meeting with the other 8 people. The main content of the meeting was to continue to carry forward the style of the children's protection team that was not afraid of hardship and fatigue. They had to deeply understand the main spirit of the children's protection team and better reflect the intelligence of the imperial censorate. They had to live up to the emperor's trust and live up to the people of the world. In the meeting, group member Zhang Xiaobei was the first to speak. He praised the previous operation and felt that the children's protection team was an outstanding group. They were a strong group that would not be defeated in the face of any difficulties. However, they also found a problem in the previous operation. That was, group member Zhang Xiaohai did not check the accounts early enough, resulting in insufficient evidence in the Hanyuan Palace. Zhang Xiaohai deeply recognized his own shortcomings and did not make any excuses. He wrote a self-criticism, and the content was that X and Y intersected on the same line. At the same time, he also criticized the members of the Wang Xiaoyuan regiment for not being good at their job, for not properly listing out the crimes that Fan Yu had committed in the imperial court. The member of the Wang Xiaoyuan regiment softly admitted his mistake. He said, cold against summer, day against year. Qufu against swing. Danshan against clear water, light rain against Tanyan. Finally, group member Zhang Xiaobei gave a concluding speech. She had new expectations for the future of the children's protection team. She pointed out that the members of the children's protection team must continue to unite around a group member who could find a place for the children's protection team. The name of the children's protection team must not be shaken until they grow up. They must broaden their horizons and walk out of the world. The meeting ended in a warm and peaceful atmosphere. This was a great meeting. It was a meeting that connected the past and opened the way for the future. This meeting established the foundation for the children's protection team to be able to overcome all kinds of difficulties in the future. Half a month later, Xiaobei and the others arrived at Zhuo County and waited there. It was unknown whether they should cross the river and take the land route or try to take the sea route. The frozen sea showed signs of thawing. A few years ago, it was recorded in the booklet that Zhuo County was a Shangxian county. It had a large population, rich products, and convenient transportation. Xiaobei planned to rest here for a few days and train 100 guards at the same time. However, when the group entered the borders of Zhuo County, Xiaobei and the others, who already knew that it was a Shangxian county, were still shocked by how prosperous Zhuo County was. In front of them was a wide road that could allow 6 carriages to pass at the same time. Countless sheds were built in the fields on both sides of the road, covered with straw. As it was close to evening, wisps of smoke rose from the sheds, and countless people were busy working. Further ahead, there was a murmuring river or floating ice. There was a stone bridge connecting the shore. Outside the bridge, the water was channeled into a canal and slowly poured into a pond. As the sun set, the water sparkled. Small boats were propped up on the canal, making clanging sounds. Everyone worked together and shouted nonstop. When the net in the pond was raised, fat fish struggled and jumped. Further ahead, there were no catchers in the pond. They were dressed in leather and went back and forth into the water. They plucked lotus roots and threw them to the shore. There were children carrying school bags and picking them up. They piled up into a mountain and laughed nonstop. Aya, who's the county magistrate of Zhuo County. He's quite capable. The road is wide enough and flat enough. There should be a kong in the shed with chives planted inside. This place draws water to raise fish and plants lotus roots. The combination is quite reasonable. If you work harder, you can catch up to half of brother and sister. Xiaobei praised when she saw this scene. She commanded the group to continue forward. Zhuo County had piqued her interest. She wanted to see what would happen after they entered the county. The group increased their speed. When the sky turned dark, they arrived outside Zhuo County. What they saw was actually a city wall that was about 1 zhang tall. It's really not easy. I see a light over there. Let's go around it. Xiaobei ordered again. After the group went around the place, everyone could clearly see that there were many houses here. They were placed next to each other, and the light was from small flames spurting out from pipes. Xiaobei and the others recognized that this was the effect of burning marsh gas. It seemed that the marsh gas here was used quite well. When they wanted to take another step forward, the group was stopped by someone. Standing outside the fence, they could faintly hear the grunting of pigs and the crowing of chickens coming from inside. Xiaobei nodded. This should be a planned breeding area. She asked someone to explain to the other party. Then she turned around and entered the city through the city gate. The lanterns of the shops on both sides of the streets flickered. With the help of the light, they could see that there was a canal built with cement on each side of the road. It should be used to drain water. In between the canal and the shops, there was also a sidewalk built with cement bricks. The shortest shop was 2 stories tall. Every time they reached an intersection, there would be a few 3-story buildings standing there. In other places, there would be very few pedestrians at night. However, there was actually an endless stream of people coming and going here. They would either go to the nearby shops to eat or gather in a spacious area to hum a tune. A group of children walked past in a row, reciting the Analects of Confucius. They went straight to a stall that was set up outside. Each of them took out a few new coins and threw them into the money box before starting to eat. The smell of pepper oil wafted over. Xiaobei sniffed and rubbed his stomach. I'm hungry. Let's go and eat. It's my treat. When they walked to the front, they saw that there were a few metal boxes on the stall. Each box was filled with different food. There were tofu skin, dried tofu, fish balls, crab balls, shrimp balls, bean sprouts, cabbage sausages, and so on. There were many types of food. Xiaobei and the others were no stranger to such things. At first, it was their older brother who made them for them. Later, it was spread to various places. Line up in 10 rows. Xiaobei took out a piece of paper from her bag and shouted to the 100 guards. Whoosh! 10 rows stood out in an instant. Everyone in the lead had a corresponding metal box in front of them. Then they picked up a string of notes and passed them to the back. Xiaobei slapped the notes into the money box and said to the stall owner, "Put the money here. Later, count the sticks and count them as meat. In the future, remember to use different sticks to distinguish between meat and vegetables. Otherwise, when there are many people, you won't be able to do anything if you keep staring at others." After speaking to the stall owner, Xiaobei started to eat. The price of meat was double that of vegetables. She didn't have the time to care about this. The stall owner was stunned. He took out the note from the box and was shocked. It was a $500 note. He looked at Xiaobei and the others and knew that he had met the children of a rich family. He smiled and continued to put food into the metal box. Xiaobei, who was eating freely, didn't care if the food was hygienic or not. After all, it was fine after it was boiled in boiling water. When she was half full, Xiaobei remembered something very important. She looked up and asked the stall owner, "Who is the county magistrate of this county?" "It's County Magistrate Yan." The stall owner didn't want to tell a child, but he felt that her status was different, so he said it. "Oh." Xiaobei nodded and asked, "Did he embezzle money?" Chapter 831. Little Bei had a lot of questions. She wanted to know the general economic situation of Zhuo County and the number of merchants coming and going. However, even after she finished eating, the stall owner went to a nearby restaurant to give her the change. She didn't get any useful information from him. Zhuo County didn't have any public announcements, so naturally, they wouldn't tell the people how much money was left in the county and where it came from. From this, Little Bei concluded that Zhuo County's county magistrate Yan had dirty hands. She planned to deal with an official before the arrival of the army. At this time, it was too late, and the children's group was full of children. Some people couldn't help but yawn. Like a contagious disease, one person yawned loudly, and everyone who saw him yawned as well. Little Bay rubbed her sore eyes and smacked her lips. She lowered her head and walked toward an inn with the brightest lights. As she walked, she muttered, "You took advantage of me for one night. I'll deal with you tomorrow." Early the next morning, Little Bay and her group ate breakfast leisurely. They came out of the inn and headed straight for the local yamen. On the way, they attracted the curiosity of many people. A group of children came out of nowhere and didn't look like students from school. At the entrance of the yamen, two yamen runners were looking at the sky in boredom. They wore thick cotton-padded clothes and looked listless. When they saw Xiaobei and the others, one of the yamen runners' eyes lit up and a smile appeared on his face. He realized that the children who were being protected were about the same age as his children, but they were much more energetic than his children. Just as he was about to ask them kindly, he heard the voice of the smartest girl in the group. "I'm a doctor in the imperial court. I'm an imperial censor and..." The yamen runner was only focused on Little Bay's pleasant voice and didn't understand the specific content. When Little Bay glared at him and repeated herself, the yamen runner finally reacted. First, he didn't believe her. "I don't care if you believe it or not. Go in and report to your county magistrate that we're here to check the accounts. Tell him to prepare himself and don't lie. Go quickly. You can't bear the consequences." Little Bay hated it the most when others treated her like a child. After all, she was an official. The yamen runner did not think that these children were officials. He thought that they were the children of some wealthy family who knew the county magistrate and came to play. He smiled and nodded, then ran inside to report. He didn't go to the signing room, nor did he go to the study, nor did he run to the empty hall. Instead, he went through 2 courtyards and came to the 3rd courtyard at the back. He said to a person wearing coarse clothes with a greasy face, "Sir, please take a rest first. I don't know which family's child is playing outside. Judging from his clothes, he should be from a rich family. Sir, can you go and identify him?" An official with a greasy face was adding coal to the stove under a large iron pot. When he heard the bailiff's words, he straightened his back and let out a sigh. After a while, he relaxed and asked, "What do you mean? Come, give me more." The yamen runner took the shovel and started to work as he replied, "Darren, there's a girl among them. She says she's a doctor or something. She's surrounded by a group of children. She says she wants to check the accounts. I don't know which of Darren's old friends she belongs to." The yamen runner spoke casually, but when the words reached the ears of the official with a greasy face, it was not easy at all. The official, who had an indifferent expression just now, grabbed the yamen runner who was still working and asked nervously, "How many children?" "A group. There's at least 180. Darren, you? How many are best dressed? Think carefully." The official asked again. "Let me think. 7? No, it seems to be 8. That's also not right. Oh, I remember now. It's 9. The group of children outside is in a circle, and in the middle is a square. The girl who spoke just happened to be standing in the middle. Darren, have you guessed who it is?" The yamen runner still did not take it seriously. He thought for a while and wanted to say it. The official staggered, and his face immediately turned pale. He muttered, "It's over. They've finally set their sights on me. Sigh. If I had known this would happen, I wouldn't have chosen Zhu a county magistrate. Add coal, don't stop. I admit it." Darren, what are you?" The yamen runner was startled. He did not understand why the official, who was usually very indifferent to everything, would be so evil today. "No, nothing. That girl is a traditional Chinese physician. You don't know. This road leads to Jili province and the capital. I've been feeling uneasy recently, but I never thought that it would happen to them." County Magistrate Yen muttered, waved his hand, and walked out with his back hunched. He knew who had come and thought of the consequences. He was greedy. He was really greedy. If another official came to investigate, he might have heard the news in advance and made some preparations. There would not be too big of a problem. But who would have thought that it was the 9 children of the Zhang family and the Wang family who came? The news had just come from the capital along the road, but they had already arrived. When County Magistrate Yan moved to the entrance of the yamen with his legs that had almost lost all strength, Xiaobei was using a colored pen to paint the edge of the door. He stepped on a big stone and seemed to be using a lot of effort. County Magistrate Yan saw the goldfish bag hanging from the waists of Xiaobei and the others. He looked at the group of children and confirmed that there was no doubt. Darren, I am County Magistrate Yan, Head Foreman Yan. I didn't know you were coming and did not welcome you. Please forgive me. As he spoke, Foreman Yan no longer thought about bribery or fraud. He waited for the final judgment. Xiaobei spent a lot of effort to paint the parts of the drum where the paint had peeled off bright red. He jumped down from the stone and shook his hands vigorously. He looked at Foreman Yan with dissatisfaction and said, County Magistrate Yan, why is this drum so high? Do you want to tire the person playing the drum to death? That old man is so old. How can he beat it? Yes, I will order someone to lower the height. Foreman Yan agreed. He stopped talking and waited there. Xiaobei rubbed his arms and looked at Foreman Yan. He said unhappily, Why are you standing outside? Why don't you invite us in? Yes, we'll go in now. Please. I will immediately have someone bring the accounts. Foreman Yan gritted his teeth and hoped that his attitude was better. The child was easy to coax. If he admitted his mistake, he could be dealt with lightly. He didn't want to lose his position. He planned to continue being greedy. Otherwise, his plan would not be able to succeed. Xiaobei was invited in. He humphed as a sign of agreement. Foreman Yan ordered someone to bring the accounts. After entering the yamen, Xiaobei didn't follow Foreman Yan's instructions to rest in the living room. Instead, he walked straight to the back. As he walked, he said, I heard that your yamen is always making a lot of noise. Let me see what you're playing at. Xiaobei, look behind you. It's smoky. Xiao Zhu, who was the most observant, pulled Xiaobei and pointed to the sky. Xiaobei looked up. Of course, it wasn't the smoke from the kitchen. He listened carefully. There was also a rumbling sound. Without another word, he rushed inside. The group of children followed closely behind. Foreman Yan's face was full of bitterness. He was afraid that Xiaobei and the others would take a fancy to his things and take them as toys. Those were the fruits of his hard work. He wanted to stop them, but he didn't dare. When Xiaobei and the others entered the third courtyard, the obedient yamen runners were still sending coal into the stove. This thing is fun. It's so big. Brother, don't you think it looks a little familiar? Xiaobei saw the jar that was almost as tall as the house. He suddenly felt that it looked familiar. It does look familiar, Xiao Yuan said. I'm not asking you. I'm asking my brother. Xiaobei didn't give him any face. Xiao Hai was also looking at the thing. He nodded. It looks familiar. Isn't this the steam engine that brother and sister asked Foreman Yan to research? They haven't finished researching it yet. I didn't expect to see one here. I wonder how far they've come. At this time, someone had already brought the county's account book and handed it to Foreman Yan. Foreman Yan squeezed the thin account book and handed it to Xiaobei helplessly. Although the account book was thin, it was real. There were also fake ones. If it were another official checking, Foreman Yan would take out the fake ones. Even if the other party really checked seriously, they would have to spend a lot of effort to find the problem. Moreover, it would only be a small problem. Today he was facing Xiaobei and the others. Craftsman Yan didn't plan on taking out a fake account book, nor did he dare to. Otherwise, this group of little fellows would tire themselves out from checking the account book. If they couldn't find any problems in the end and started crying, Zhang Xiaobao would definitely be angry. When he came to investigate, it wouldn't be so simple. It was better to be straightforward. In any case, if they were greedy and bad ideas were found by the 9 people, they wouldn't be able to count on any luck. What is this? Xiaobei looked at the thin account book and asked. It's an account book. It records the county's income and expenses this year, as well as the portion that I spent on myself. Foreman Yan sighed and introduced. Oh. Let me see. Xiaobei opened the account book as she spoke. She didn't recognize some of the words, but fortunately, She knew the key numbers. After flipping through 2 pages, she exclaimed, "Wow! Zhua County's tax income reached 820,000 strings of cash this year? How did you do it? How much was it last year?" I just figured out a way to do it after hearing about Jili Province and Buxin County from my younger brother. In the first half of last year, it was 140,000 strings of cash, and in the second half, it was 60,000 strings of cash. I invested all the money into breeding. Naturally, this year's harvest was more. Foreman Yan was very proud of the county's income. In 1.5 years, the amount had quadrupled. Xiaobei was very surprised. If this result was achieved by her brother or sister, it wouldn't be a big deal. However, an ordinary official could do it, so it was definitely different. "Then how much did you report?" 760,000 strings of cash, Foreman Yan answered honestly. Xiaobei nodded. "So you took a full 60,000 strings of cash? That's the entire revenue for the second half of last year, right?" "Yes." "What did you do with the money?" Xiaobei didn't feel any sense of accomplishment when Foreman Yan admitted to it right away. Instead, she was more interested in what Foreman Yan did with the money he took. Foreman Yan pointed at the big thing in front of him. "I'll do this. A few broke, and this is the last one. I'm about to succeed. Can you give me a few days?" Okay. This big thing only cost 60,000 strings of cash. Xiaobei started to spin around the steaming thing. She returned the account book to Foreman Yan and stopped paying attention to it. After spinning around a few times, Xiaobei stopped and turned to ask the nervous Foreman Yan, "What can this thing do? Can it be put on the car and let the car move on its own? Can it be put on the boat and let the boat move on its own? Can it help generate electricity and turn on the lights? Can it be put on the lathe to help make tools?" Foreman Yan's eyes lit up with every question Xiaobei asked. After Xiaobei finished asking, Foreman Yan nodded at Xiaobei as if he had found a confidant. "Then why isn't it moving? Is there a switch or something? Hurry up and turn it on. Don't hold it until it explodes." Xiaobei suddenly thought of a very important question. Foreman Yan was stunned. Wei Wei rushed to the round thing and picked up a stick from the ground. She stuck it into the air and started to spin it. Then, she shouted at the yamen runner who was still stupidly adding coal, "Stop adding coal." Only then did the yamen runner throw down the shovel and wipe the sweat off his forehead. Following Foreman Yan's actions, more steam came out. Then, the group saw the rods connected to the pot start to move up and down. A wheel on the other side also started to spin. Xiaobei and the rest widened their eyes when they saw this scene. They could always see the craftsmen at home working. They knew that as long as something could move, it could be turned in different directions. The most common example was a washing machine. "Yay!" Xiaobei happily rushed in front of Craftsman Yan. He reached out to grab Craftsman Yan's hand and slapped it. He said to Craftsman Yan, "County Magistrate Yan, we did it. We did it. The steam engine is out. How did you seal the place? Did you use gum?" Craftsman Yan was also dazed by the joy. He picked up Xiaobei and kissed him hard, saying, "No need for gum, just seal it with iron. Find a piece of iron that is tough and make it into a piece. Just press it on the key points. If there are any leaks, use another type of glue." "Yes, you're so smart. Let's go to the best restaurant in the county to celebrate. We'll tell my brother and sister later." Xiaobei hugged Foreman Yan with one hand and waved his other hand excitedly. Foreman Yan nodded and walked out with Xiaobei in his arms. When he reached the front hall, he suddenly stopped. Only then did he remember what they were doing. "Let's go. The best restaurant. My treat." Xiaobei was still wondering why they stopped. "This." Foreman Yan put Xiaobei down and pointed at the hall. "Lord Zhang, aren't you here to check the accounts?" "Huh? Check the accounts? Ah. I'm done. I know everything." Xiaobei only reacted after being reminded. Then are you going to impeach me?" Foreman Yan said what he didn't want to say the most. "What impeach? The county's accounts are clear. The local economy is prosperous, and Lord Yan deserves the most credit. If there are more officials like Lord Yan in our court, why should we worry about the people not being able to live and work in peace? Xiao Yuan, help me draft a memorial, and have someone send it to my brother first. When the time comes, send it to the capital. If Lord Yan doesn't reward such a good official, how can we spread the world? Xiaobei's righteous appearance stunned Foreman Yan. In a daze, he shook his head and asked, "Then what about the 60,000 strings of cash?" 60,000 strings of cash? Which 60,000 strings of cash? Oh, it's the special department fee for the Ministry of Works to research the steam engine that Lord Yan mentioned. Yes, it's a bit low. We should increase the investment. A person of Lord Yan's insight can't lose his determination to continue research because of money. Xiaobei raised his hand to pat Foreman Yan's shoulder, but found the height difference. He could only pat Foreman Yan's leg to show encouragement. Foreman Yan stood there and pondered for a while. He finally understood Xiaobei's words. Not only did he not pursue the matter of his corruption, but he also made it sound so righteous. It seemed that everything was because of the steam engine. Xiaobei didn't care what Foreman Yan thought. There was finally a steam engine. His family hadn't developed it yet. His brother and sister only gave him an idea and didn't have the time to personally guide him. Now that it was done, his brother and sister would definitely be very happy. Thinking that this joyous matter could allow him to drink a small cup of wine, he excitedly pulled Foreman Yan outside. "Hurry and find a good restaurant. I brought some wine from my collection. I'll treat you to a cup." Foreman Yan followed Xiaobei out. He didn't care about the grease on his face. He pulled a bailiff over to give him directions, and headed towards the restaurant closest to them. He wouldn't foolishly disagree with Xiaobei's words. He managed to escape a calamity. It was still early in the morning, so it wasn't time for lunch yet. There weren't many people in the restaurant, and there wasn't a single person on the third floor. A group of people rushed up and occupied the entire third floor. They removed the partition screens and opened the doors to the rooms. They ordered a table full of dishes. Xiaobei had someone bring out the wine he brought with him. He personally poured a cup for Foreman Yan, and a small cup for himself. He raised his cup and shouted, "For the birth of the steam engine, let's have a small sip. Lord Yan, do as you please. Later, tell us how you came up with the idea of making this steam engine." Everyone else was eating. Only Xiao Yuan drank a sip with him, and continued to write the memorial. He had fewer mistakes than Xiaobei. When Foreman Yan, who hadn't eaten anything since he woke up in the middle of the night to figure out the final steps of the steam engine, was about 30% full, and began to talk about his original idea, Xiao Yuan finished writing the letter, blew it dry, and handed it to Xiaobei. Xiaobei crumpled the letter into a ball, and threw it out of the window. "Send this memorial to my brother as fast as you can. Then pass it to General Gao, and have the Ministry of Works send someone here." He turned around and was about to listen to the story when he saw Foreman Yan's confused expression. He smiled and explained, "It was for the person my brother sent. I didn't know about it before, but I accidentally found out. I just happened to help deliver the letter." Foreman Yan nodded. That was right. If a group of children didn't have anyone to protect them, it was easy for them to get into trouble when they encountered danger. No wonder they dared to barge into the yamen. If he really wanted to detain them, he would have been shot to death long ago. The people sent by the Zhang family and the Wang family were definitely not ordinary people. There might be a gun aimed at him from somewhere outside the window. Fortunately, he wasn't too ambitious. Xiaohai guessed what Foreman Yan was thinking and comforted him. "Don't worry, they won't do anything to good people. Even if you didn't make the steam engine, they won't arrest you. Brother and sister will at most make you spit out the money you coveted. When your term ends, they will think of a way to reward you with more money." Xiaohai's words confused Foreman Yan again. Xiaobei echoed, that's right. They won't arrest you. The county's income has more than doubled, so it's reasonable to be a little greedy. We can see that the people in the county are living very well. No one has sounded the drum for a long time, which means you are doing a good job as the county magistrate. It's inevitable for people to make mistakes. We can't just kill a capable official. The other children nodded. They had been with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan for a long time. They knew how their brother and sister did things, so they tried their best to imitate them. Foreman Yan looked at the children, and his eyes turned red. He was touched. He was finally recognized. Although it was only by a group of children, It was more precious than being recognized by adults. He didn't know how these 9 children were taught. They spoke like adults. Perhaps with his performance, his younger brother would have a better life. Xiaobei peeled the salted prawns cooked with fresh prawns and took a sip of wine. He smacked his lips and said to Foreman Yen, "Tell me, how did you think of running the county well? Where did you learn how to make the steam engine?" "I have a younger brother, also surnamed Yen. He is the county magistrate of Yiying County in Jili Province. He was the one who told me about the Zhang family and Wang family's method. I changed it a little and used it in our county. I didn't expect it to be so useful. Steam engine is a good name. My father was a carpenter, and so was my grandfather. By the time my younger brother and I reached an official position, I still liked to make all kinds of things. Later, when I was waiting for an official position in the capital, a classmate of mine was assigned to the Ministry of Works. He knew that I liked to make things, so he gave me a small booklet to read. After reading that booklet, I realized that there was such a vast world. 2 years ago, I saw a washing machine and electric light in a rich family's house. I began to think about it. One day, when I was making something, I found that the steam in the can moved the small model of the wind generator. Then I thought, whether it is wind power or water power, they are all limited by the environment. Is there a way to get rid of the environmental restrictions? So I began to think about it from the perspective of steam. Then I came up with that steam engine. Foreman Yin didn't care about the age of the audience. He finally found a place to vent the things that had been bottled up in his heart for a long time. He began to tell Xiaobei and the others some of his stories. "It seems like you can't be a county magistrate anymore. You can either come to our family or go to the Ministry of Works. Otherwise it would be a pity," Xiao Yuan said to Foreman Yen. Chapter 832. The winter snow had just melted, and the damp air on the ground was blown by the wind, chilling people to the bone. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sat in the carriage and slowly moved forward with the group. The sound of hooves echoed around them. It will take 5 years to migrate the people from the 2 places in batches. While the Tang Empire is strong and prosperous, we have to act early. Even if we have to deceive them, we have to lure the Tubo and Turkic people here. Zhang Xiaobao added a piece of smokeless charcoal to the stove in the carriage and put a teapot on it. He looked at the bleak scenery of early spring through the window and said. Wang Wan, who was sitting opposite him, put down the information that had just been sent by Lu Zhou and agreed. "I think so too. The problem of ethnic groups is the most difficult problem to solve. If we really don't care about those 2 places, there might be a situation where we can't get rid of them. There will always be some tribal rulers who are unwilling to give up the little power in their hands. They know that harmony can play a positive role in promoting the lives of the people, but they just have to look for trouble. They even use the lies of their status and religion to brainwash the people under their rule." Zhang Xiaobao and Wei Wei nodded. They looked at the information in Wang Wan's hand and asked, "What does it say?" "Nothing much. Our arsenal is still as stable as ever. It's just that the business of the shipyard has been getting better and better recently. Ever since the merchants from the east of Jiangnan came back from afar and made a fortune, more people are thinking about ordering more ships from the shipyard. They also want to go out and look for the Golden Road." Wang Wan shook the paper in her hand and introduced it to Zhang Xiaobao with a smile. Zhang Xiaobao also smiled and said, "That's good news. What's that again? Anyway, it's a very powerful small country. Their navy is very powerful. It's called the Invincible Fleet. Let's learn from them." "Don't talk nonsense if you don't know. The Invincible Fleet of Spain lost in the end to the pirate group. I'm afraid that if there are many merchants who go out to sea, some will not explore on their own. Instead, they will become pirates and hide to rob people who come back from sea. That will be a mess." As Wang Wan spoke, she looked at the kettle on the stove. She picked it up and poured out some of the water. Then, she sat back down and began to prepare the tea leaves. "Anyway, that's how it is. The loser isn't invincible. I'm talking about the winner. Even if it's chaotic, it won't be chaotic. I have a trick up my sleeve. I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. 1 sheep is the same as driving away 2 sheep. What analogy! What a mess! Tell me, how do we deal with our own people attacking each other? Does it say that we'll annihilate their entire family once we find out? Wang Wan picked up the tea balls one by one and knocked on the teacup with her hand. She began to be curious again. Zhang Xiaobao didn't immediately voice his thoughts. He rolled down the glass and allowed the cold wind to blow. After shivering, he opened his mouth. I'm thinking that we should let our people have a little more courage. Don't let people say that there is no China behind the mountains. There has never been peace in this world. The so-called peace is not between two or a few people restraining each other. It's just a temporary unification. While we are still around, we should fight as much as we can. In fact, sometimes I wonder if I'm an evil person. In the past, I always hoped that one day the sea would suddenly collapse and sink a certain country into the water, just like the Yatlan civilization. Wang Wan leaned back lazily to attract Zhang Xiaobao's gaze and asked, You're talking about Japan, right? Zhang Xiaobao carefully looked at Wang Wan and said in puzzlement, I didn't realize that the girl beside me has become a woman. Aya, if this figure is taken out, wouldn't it be called an S shape? Come, let me hug you. Wang Wan curled her lips and didn't respond to Zhang Xiaobao's words. Zhang Xiaobao didn't mind and continued. I've never taken Japan seriously. I admit that they are developing well, but that small place is destined to be unable to achieve great things. I'm planning to let Li Longji stabilize and expand at the same time. He has to fight hard like the Yuan Dynasty and develop the economy like the Song Dynasty. I always hear that the Song Dynasty is good, but didn't it still fail? What you said about there being no China behind the mountains is actually referring to the Song Dynasty and the Southern Song Dynasty. Many people jumped off the cliff. When I was in Beijing, my mother asked me to discuss the engagement with you. She said that it should be decided by next year at the latest. You should think of a way to reject it. Why should I reject it? It's not like we are getting married or engaged. It should be decided first. In fact, many rich families already have mothers at your age. I'm afraid that you will bully and be a hooligan at night after the engagement. Now that there is no crime of being a hooligan, the engagement is settled. Oh, I remember something. When some of the merchants become pirates, we will form a special maritime patrol team. One will train the navy. One will help the merchants to safely plunder resources from other places, and one will be able to beat people up as we wish. Just like the United States, we can openly bully people. Zhang Xiaobao did have the intention to take advantage of her, but only a little. Wang Wan didn't discuss the engagement anymore. She followed Zhang Xiaobao's words and said, A pitiful person must have a hateful side. The small countries that are bullied are not wronged at all. They want others to help them, but they don't want to take sides. No one is a fool. Why should they help others for free? What I am worried about is that as we expand, there will be colonization on many islands, and then they will start to become independent. This is a problem, but unfortunately, I can't do anything about it. There will always be some people who want to be the emperor, even if it's a small emperor. This is called better to be the head of a chicken than the back of a cow. To solve this problem, the best way is to develop technology and have enough military power. If anyone dares to become independent, we will fight them within a day. When we have nothing to do, we will call back the people in various places. Who knows? Zhang Xiaobao didn't have any solution to this problem. It could be said that there was no solution. At this time, the person in charge of delivering the message to Zhang Xiaobao came over and handed the balled-up memorial to Zhang Xiaobao. When he opened it, Zhang Xiaobao was happy. Come look. Our Xiaobei has done another big thing. Zhuo County's county magistrate Yan is actually an inventor. He made the steam engine. Comrade Xiao Yan, who is the county magistrate of Yiying County in Jili Province, is his younger brother. As he spoke, Zhang Xiaobao handed the letter over. Wang Wan also smiled after reading it. Xiaobei and the others are really lucky. What are you going to do with Craftsman Yan? We can't let him continue to be a county magistrate. That would be a waste of his talent. Yes, if he can't be a county magistrate, he can be transferred to Jili Province to reunite with his younger brother. Arrange a judge position for him, and let him study together with Craftsman Yan. The steam engine is a small matter. Even without him, we can still make it. The key is this person's idea. It is very rare. Come give the order. Hurry up. Zhang Xiaobao wasn't willing to give such a talent to others. If he could make the steam engine today, he might be able to make the diesel engine tomorrow. The speed of the team suddenly increased. After rushing for 6 days, they finally arrived at Zhua County. They saw craftsman Yan, who was working with Xiaobei and the others to improve the steam engine. Xiaobei was very reserved and explained her advanced theory of using the steam engine to generate electricity and then use electricity to boil water. She received Zhang Xiaobao's affirmation and praise. Craftsman Yan was much more restrained. He knew that his fate was no longer in his control. He hoped that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were really as open-minded as Xiaobei and the others said. Zhang Xiaobao was very kind. He naturally wouldn't let go of such a great talent. After discussing with Craftsman Yan for a long time, he tricked Craftsman Yan into agreeing to go to Jili province to develop. The matter of the transfer was also handled by Zhang Xiaobao. After 2 days, the team continued their journey under Craftsman Yan's expectations. After a month, Craftsman Yan could go to Jili province. After telling a few stories to his younger brother and sister as a reward, the team went all the way to the seaside. At this time, the sea had already been unfrozen. There was no ice at all. Only the bone-chilling wind was blowing. The group boarded the boat and headed in the direction of Jili province. The boat traveled for 2 days. Just as they were about to reach their destination, a boat came in front of them. The people on the boat hurriedly found Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Little young master, little miss, there's news from the commander-in-chief's manor of Heishui, Royal Prince Tang, and has been attacking for a long time, and is in urgent need of reinforcements. The person reported to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Wang Wan's eyes widened. There are so many people there, and they still can't defeat him? It seems like they want me to go. Chapter 833. When Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao returned to the prefecture of Jili State, they saw the detailed information sent back by Li Sun. Although it was called information, it was actually a nagging letter. Li Sun complained a lot in the letter. First of all, he complained that he did not have a good new year. He had been leading the army outside. It was very cold and very uncomfortable. Then he complained about the supply difficulties. The people who went to help transport from Jili State could support the consumption of the army in the beginning, but as the army continued to advance, the inconvenience became obvious. Often, when the army advanced dozens of miles, the supply team behind would need a few days to send the follow-up supplies, which greatly affected the mobility of the army. Then he said that the people of the Blackwater Commandery were cunning. They did not confront him head-on, but ran all the way back and took all the people with them. Before the new year, when they were about to catch up, they had to give up because of a heavy snow, which allowed the people of the Blackwater Commandery to effectively gather. More importantly, many people who were taken from Shuzhou were sick and needed people to take care of them. The people who were taken from Jili State did not have a good time either. In the beginning, there was no problem. It seemed that they had adapted to the cold environment. However, as they fought on the snowy ground for a long time, many people had frostbite. In short, the Blackwater Commandery was not a place where people could fight. They needed support. They hoped that Wang Wan, who was like a god of war, could show her power again. After reading the letter, Zhang Xiaobao smiled and said to Wang Wan, "It seems that Li Sun encountered the tactic of scorched earth and cleared field. In addition, the army was not adapted to the cold climate for a long time, so he was beaten silly." Wang Wan nodded and agreed. She said, "It seems that our adaptive training in Jili State is still not enough. I am very worried about the people who went to North America. I don't know if they can survive. There is no news back yet. Li Sun is really too much. He only knows how to complain. He doesn't know how to clearly write down the tactics of the enemy. It makes it difficult for me to judge what the enemy's general is planning. How else could he have fought? When winter comes, he should have used the fastest speed to infiltrate the enemy. I think Li Sun wanted fewer people to die, and wanted to use the momentum of the army to crush the enemy. In the end, the enemy didn't compromise and used all the available circumstances to teach Li Sun a lesson. The mountains there are high and the forests are dense. There should be a lot of primeval forests. Fortunately, we didn't give him a rifle unit this time. Otherwise, it would be easy for someone to set up an ambush and steal the rifle. It's so cold that he can't even pull the trigger. Zhang Xiaobao also analyzed the situation. Time and place were on the opponent's side. As for the people, both sides seemed to be about the same. Wang Wan put down the letter in her hand. After thinking for a while, she said, "We should have Li Sun stop. Withdraw the army and replace it with a new one. Right now, the morale of the more than 20,000 troops is as low as it can be. The Blackwater Commander-in-Chief's mansion is large. We can't expect to take it down in a short time." After Wang Wan made the decision, she quickly sent someone to deliver the letter to Li Sun. It was estimated that it would take at least a month for the letter to arrive. There was no other way now. Zhang Xiaobao also agreed with Li Sun's proposal to withdraw the army. He added, "The gunboats can't go forward to reinforce from the sea because of the ice over there. Shouldn't we use them? I wonder if Shuiyin can go with them? It's best if she can send back the news as soon as possible." Perhaps because she heard Zhang Xiaobao's call, Shuiyin flew back the next day. Seeing Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan appear to be very intimate and eating a meal of beef, she reluctantly left with Wang Wan's order. A gust of cold wind blew, causing Li Sun to involuntarily shiver. He put down his binoculars and gently rubbed his face that was covered in wounds from the wind. He gritted his teeth in pain and cursed, "Motherf ***, this group of people don't have any backbone at all. Are they still men? If they have the guts, come up and fight with blades and guns. They only know how to hide." At this time, Li Sun's adjutant, who was responsible for giving advice, didn't say a word. He was also beaten to a pulp by the other side. As long as this side formed a large scale, the other side would immediately retreat. Relying on their familiarity with the terrain, their speed was very fast. Every time they looked like they were about to be surrounded, they would find that the other side had disappeared between heaven and earth. Li Sun gritted his teeth and turned to ask the adjutant, "Tell me, how do we fight this battle? A few days ago, we managed to surround them with great difficulty and surrounded them on a mountain. Just as we were preparing to attack after resting for a while, in the end after one night, they actually turned into a city. We trapped them for a few days for nothing and let them run away again." When the adjutant heard Li Sun's words, he really wanted to say, "If you didn't insist on giving the enemy a chance to live that day, how could they have found a chance to escape if we surrounded them with only one person left? The people lying in ambush wouldn't have had time to move at all." Thinking this in his heart, the adjutant didn't dare to say it out loud. He could only go along with Li Sun's words and say, "Your Highness, I think they're not having a good time now. At least they've been running and never dared to confront us directly. They've eaten almost all of their food and other things. As for heating, without a house, how can they not be cold?" Li Sun didn't say anything. He thought the adjutant was talking nonsense. Who wouldn't be cold? He was cold too. After chasing for so long, how could there be a fixed house to stay in? Living in a tent, damp and cold, there was no way to fight this battle. The adjutant continued, "Your Highness, I think it's better to retreat first. Now that it's the beginning of spring, they must also need spring plowing. Let's give them the place first and let them feel safe to return to spring plowing. When they've tidied up the land and planted the seeds, we'll make a comeback. Your Highness, think about it. They've spent so much effort to plant the seeds, so it's impossible for them to give up so easily. If we attack again, they'll definitely want to fight us to the death. Now we're not afraid of fighting, but we're afraid that they'll run away. If they still run away, we'll destroy their land." Good idea. The important thing is to cut off their hope of survival. They'll definitely go crazy. Your idea is good, retreat. But if I retreat, won't I be laughed at when I go back? What should I say to the emperor? Spring? Why don't I see any signs of spring? It's still cold when it should be. Li Sun didn't want to fight anymore. He was physically and mentally exhausted. Now he was in a dilemma. He couldn't enter because the Blackwater Commander-in-Chief's mansion was too big. He couldn't retreat even if he chased after them. Everyone knew that this was the Emperor's sword competition on Mount Hua. The people of the Blackwater Commander-in-Chief's mansion wanted to wipe them out. If he didn't submit to such an obvious provocation, where would the national prestige be? What's more, this was his first battle. If he ran away with his tail between his legs, wouldn't the other brothers laugh at him? The adjutant might not be able to fight in such an environment, but he had a good grasp of human nature. At first glance, he knew what Li Sun was thinking, so he gave him an idea. Your Highness, we're not retreating. In fact, this is called a strategic shift. When Adjutant Wang was at the front line of Jinchuan, he also shifted a lot. Didn't he win in the end? A good general who only knows to move forward is not a good general. Sometimes it takes more courage to temporarily make concessions that are helpful to the overall situation. Li Sun liked to hear this. He squinted his eyes and kept nodding. He said to the adjutant, "Since you insist on shifting, I'll listen to you this time. Pass down my order. The front team will change to the rear team. Shift. Pay attention to maintaining the formation. Don't let them counterattack." The adjutant was stunned and looked helpless. He had to take the responsibility, but he didn't help to win the battle, so he had to do this. With Li Sun's order, the troops began to retreat. It was easy to say, but it couldn't be done in a short time. And it was impossible to retreat to Jili in one breath. They could only retreat to the Bohai Commander-in-Chief's mansion first. Li Sun was very reluctant to go there. He was afraid that if he met the people of the Bohai Commander-in-Chief's mansion, they might learn from the Blackwater Commander-in-Chief's mansion and make trouble. It would be really difficult to deal with them. The Tang army retreated when its morale was at its lowest. As in all wars, the people of the Blackwater Commander-in-Chief's mansion would not give up such an opportunity to chase. Although they did not engage in a large-scale battle, the harassment of the small groups of troops never stopped. Traps, night attacks, and all the tricks that could be used were used, making it very difficult for the troops that Li Sun sent to bring up the rear. Li Sun could hear the casualties from the rear every day. Not many people died, but they were always dying. He was very worried that the troops at the rear would retreat when they had no morale. In that case, he didn't know how many people would die. After retreating for a few more days, what Li Sun was worried about did not happen. Instead, there was a turning point. The 2,000 people left behind to stay behind actually built a temporary camp in an open place. They learned from the people of the Blackwater Commander-in-Chief's mansion that they also poured water into ice and were resting. Your Highness, the 2,000 people at the rear seemed to want to counterattack. One morning before breakfast, the army officer came to Li Sun's tent and said to Li Sun. Li Sun was stunned and asked puzzledly, "Do they want to fight to the death? That won't do. 2,000 people are not a small number. If they die, how can I explain it to Xiaobao? They are from Jili province." The army officer shook his head and replied, "Your Highness, I don't know whether they want to fight to the death or not. They didn't continue to send back messages as before. Instead, the people in charge of receiving them saw a lot of smoke rising there. I thought they wanted to stay there for a long time and wait for a chance to counterattack." Hearing the army officer's words, Li Sun was more confused. "I don't seem to have given such an order, right? Aren't they messing around? Stay. With what? The food left for them is enough for them to eat for a few days. Now they are almost finished. Do they want to starve themselves to death? Find a way to get in touch with them." The more Li Sun thought about it, the angrier he got. They didn't listen to his order. Could it be that he couldn't command the people from Jili province after fighting such a depressing battle? While they were talking, a messenger rushed in from outside. He looked anxious and reported to Li Sun, "Your Highness, bad news. Your Highness, there is smoke rising there." "I know. Isn't it just the troops at the rear?" Li Sun said disapprovingly. Yes. But that smoke, Your Highness, you'd better go and see for yourself." The messenger wanted to explain, but suddenly gave up. It was only a few steps away. He could see the situation over there as soon as he walked out of the tent. "Let's go and see." Li Sun, who was puzzled, walked out of the tent. At this moment, there were many people standing outside. They were all looking towards the north. The first thing Li Sun felt when he came out was that it was a cloudy day. When he followed the others' gazes, he was frightened. He saw that in the north, there was thick smoke that covered the sky. It was not smoke at all. It was smoke that would only appear when there was a big fire. At this time, the wind was blowing towards the north and a little towards the west. The smoke was also slanting towards the northwest. After being stunned for a while, Li Sun shook his head hard and shouted, "Who knows what's going on? What happened over there?" Everyone was at a loss. Standing beside Li Sun, Lu Jun muttered, "It turns out that a big fire can be ignited in such a cold time. Even snow can't stop the spread of the fire." Li Sun nodded. It was also the first time he thought that such a big fire could be ignited. He suddenly had an idea that he didn't want to believe. He said to Lu Jun, "Could it be that the people from the Blackwater Commandery saw that we were guarding the rear, so they got a lot of things to ignite the fire and wanted to burn them to death? That's 2,000 people." The army officer was speechless for a moment. His eyes were filled with fear, and his body was trembling slightly. He seemed to be imagining the scene of those 2,000 people being burned alive. He had a painful expression on his face. Those were the elite troops of Jili State. Quickly think of a way for me to contact them, and ask them to retreat. Retreat quickly. We should retreat too. If the wind changes direction, it will be troublesome." Li Sun quivered and shouted to the people around him. The soldiers around him shook their heads helplessly. How could they contact them? Who wouldn't die if they went there? At the moment when everyone was at a loss and helpless, a clear eagle cry suddenly sounded in the sky. Everyone couldn't help but look up. They saw a snow-white eagle hovering in the sky with its wings open. Then it began to dive toward the ground. When Lu Jun saw the eagle, the first thing that came to his mind was to shoot it down. He shouted, "Quickly shoot it down, so as not to hurt His Highness." After shouting, he found that many people didn't move. Only a few people pulled their bows. Before they could aim, Li Sun's voice came. "Put down your bows. If you shoot it, you won't live. Shuiyin, I'm here. Shuiyin, come down." The eagle in the sky responded with a cry. As expected, it flew down toward Li Sun. It hovered at a low altitude. Seeing no danger, it landed on the tent and scratched a few holes in it. "Your Highness, this eagle?" Lu Jun had never seen Shuiyin before. He didn't know what it did. "Hee, this is Xiao Bao and Cuckoo's treasure. I didn't expect it to come here. Quickly, have someone prepare some food. I want raw meat." Li Sun's mood suddenly improved a lot because of Shuiyun's arrival. He rubbed his hands together and came under the tent. He looked up at Shuiyin and said, "Where did you come from? Xiao Bao and Cuckoo have a message?" Shuiyin nodded to Li Sun under the shocked gazes of the soldiers who had never seen it before. Then it raised one of its wings and pointed to the sea. It let out a short cry. "From the sea? Are you with the fleet? Are you sending me a message?" Li Sun picked up a thick wooden stick from the ground and put it on his shoulder. Shuiyin nodded again. It opened and closed its wings and flew to Li Sun's wooden stick. It raised one of its claws and let Li Sun take something down. Lu Jun was dumbfounded. He muttered, "Motherf ***, where did this goblin come from? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan are already monsters. I can't believe they can raise an eagle like this." Shuiyin turned its head and glanced at Lu Jun obviously. It had heard Lu Jun's words and expressed its dissatisfaction. "Ha ha ha ha." Li Sun laughed, looking very happy. He said to Lu Jun, "We only have one Shuiyin in the world. This is good. As long as there is news, there will be a way. I don't know if the news came directly from the fleet or from somewhere else." While they were talking, Li Sun had already taken off the bamboo tube tied to Shuiyun's leg. He also helped Shuiyin massage it to relax. It was uncomfortable to be tied for a long time. When Li Sun stood up and opened the letter, someone had already brought the wild animals that had just been killed to him. They cut them into strips and put them on the ground. They wanted to see how Shuiyin would eat them. However, Shuiyin didn't move at all. It only stared at the person who brought the meat. "All right, let's do it this way. Those who should withdraw, withdraw, and those who should stay, stay. What's there to be afraid of burning the forest? As long as we can disrupt the enemy's deployment in the Blackwater Commander-in-Chief's office, everything will be worth it." Cuckoo is indeed Cuckoo. She can command from so far away. After reading the letter, Li Sun suddenly seemed to change into a different person. He went from a defeated general to a victorious general. Lu Jun really wanted to see what was written in the letter. Seeing that Li Sun didn't give it to him, he had to change the topic. He pointed to the meat on the ground and asked, "Your Highness, does this eagle not like to eat venison?" "It's called Yunshui. It's not that it doesn't like to eat it, but it's afraid of being poisoned." "Shuiyan, don't worry. Eat it. If someone dares to poison it, I'll kill his whole family." Li Sun explained to Lu Jun and made a promise to Shuiyan. Shuiyan shook its head and still didn't eat it. Obviously, it didn't believe Li Sun's promise. "Go get a live one." Li Sun had to give another order. This time, a very thin rabbit was sent. It might have been hungry in the winter. Li Sun personally cut off strips of meat. Only then did Shuiyan cooperate and eat it. Lu Jun looked at Shuiyan enviously and asked Li Sun, "Your Highness, what are we going to do next?" "Most of the troops will retreat. Leave 2,000 people here, and don't move. Leave as many supplies as possible. Then follow orders. This time, I'll show them the power of our Tang army." Li Sun took out the letter he had just put away with a sneaky smile. Chapter 834. Li Sun, who had received the tactical support from Wang Wan, was completely relieved. Most of the troops retreated, except for those who had received instructions from the fleet in advance to cover the retreat. 2,000 people had already started to set fire. Li Sun left another 2,000 people behind to provide support, and at the same time divided into small groups to set fire. Billowing smoke rose from all directions, blowing here and there as the wind changed direction. The people who had finished setting the fire all hid by the seaside, and did not move. They were under the protection of the gunships that could not continue to head north. Looking at the gray sky, Li Sun sighed, as if talking to himself or to the people around him. "Unfortunately, I don't know how much wealth will be lost this time. It's all my fault. I didn't succeed in conquering the Blackwater Commander-in-Chief's mansion. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to resort to this." Shinjun was beside Li Sun. Hearing Li Sun's words, he was very puzzled and comforted him. "Your Highness, why worry? Even if it's burned, it's the trees of the Blackwater Commander-in-Chief's mansion. It's not a pity." The others who only knew how to fight nodded in agreement. Li Sun chuckled. "What do you know? There's no Blackwater Commander-in-Chief's mansion. You have to look at the long term. Now it seems to be someone else's territory, but after this is over, it will be Tang's territory. There are many trees that can be used as pillars, and the rare beasts and medicinal herbs on the mountain are all gone. Do you know how much money has been lost? It can't be counted. If the burned land is developed, it might be able to contribute to 1/5 of Tang's territory. Damn Blackwater Commander-in-Chief's mansion, playing hard and fast and guerrilla warfare with me. Isn't it because they can't adapt to the environment?" Shinjun was shocked. So much money. If I had known this would happen, I would have let Wang Wan personally lead the troops. I think that with her ability, she can definitely destroy the Blackwater Commander-in-Chief's mansion. Shinjun only realized after saying this that he was belittling Commander-in-Chief Tang, and he was about to explain, but Li Sun waved his hand. "Yes, I'm not as good as Cuckoo, but Cuckoo can't come here to command the troops. Wouldn't that make it seem that Tang has her as a general? That's why they only gave me advice and didn't come here personally. This battle has to be won, no matter how many resources are lost or how many Tang soldiers are injured or killed. Not only must we win, we must get a result as quickly as possible. We can't drag this out. If we do, who knows how many people will start having other thoughts." The army officer sighed and echoed, "Your Highness is right. Our Tang Empire is full of talents. We can't let Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan participate in everything. Otherwise, what will others think of our Tang Empire? Let's burn it. We'd rather lose it." Li Sun laughed. "Who said they won't participate? They just won't fight directly. When the number of casualties is about the same, Zhang Xiaobao will definitely have a way to minimize the losses. Since they came up with the idea, they will definitely have a follow-up plan. Can we really get any benefits from it?" Shinjun didn't believe it. What benefits could there be if it was burned down? I don't know about others, but Zhang Xiaobao definitely won't just focus on destruction. Maybe it's a trick within a trick. Let's wait and see. We'll know when the time comes. Li Sun didn't doubt Zhang Xiaobao's ability at all. He looked at the gray smoke that dyed the sky and felt much better. In the government office of Jili State, craftsman Yan, who had become a judge, finally got together with his younger brother. They talked about various things after they parted. Although they used to communicate with each other through letters, it couldn't be compared to face-to-face communication. His younger brother was much more honest now. He didn't think about corruption and bribery anymore. Back then, he was bold because he wanted to use his life to get more money and then provide it to his family, such as his father and brother. Now he was more worried about whether his actions back then would implicate his family. After learning that his brother was fine after embezzling 60,000 strings of cash, he secretly admired Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's breadth of mind, and decided to be a good official in the future. It wasn't that he didn't want to live a better life, but he knew that as long as he followed Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and did things properly, he wouldn't be fooled by the fact that he didn't have much money now. Once he left office, whether he was promoted or transferred to another place, he would be rewarded handsomely. Now he didn't have much money, but he also didn't have enough to spend. All the necessities of life should be provided by the government office. The things given by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan could only be described with one word: extravagant. If he was a county magistrate somewhere else, even if he tried his best to be greedy, he wouldn't be able to get the various furniture in his house now or the refined food every day. The two brothers met again after a long separation, and had endless things to say. They sat in the Bihai Insha restaurant on the main street of the government office from morning until it was time to light the lamps. Perhaps because they knew that they couldn't eat much, the two of them ordered a few cold dishes and warmed up the wine. By the time night fell, they were already drunk, but they didn't make a fuss. There was an indescribable smoothness to them. "Heir, I heard that you've been following Governor Zhang and have a deep understanding of him. How much do you know about him?" Looking at the bustling scene of the brightly lit streets outside, craftsman Yen felt much more energetic after drinking a large bowl of hangover soup, and asked his younger brother. The county magistrate, Yen Arian, who was called Heir, was very embarrassed at this time. In the past, when he wrote to his older brother, he didn't dare to say that he was targeted and thrown to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to deal with. He only said that he was chosen by the two, so he was transferred from another place to Xinsai County, which was close to Baoxin County. Then he was transferred to Jili County and promoted all the way from an ordinary county magistrate to the position of county magistrate. He asked people to bring back good things like fungus, ginseng, sea cucumber, and so on. He also said that Zhang Xiaobao gave him because he performed well. In fact, all county magistrates had this treatment. Hearing his older brother's question, he hesitated but still decided to tell the truth. He stood up and said a few words to the waiter in the restaurant. After a while, the waiter of the restaurant served a pot of tea. He poured a cup for his older brother and picked up a cup for himself. He said, "Brother, try this Maojian tea. It's premium Maojian tea. It's only a little worse than the premium Maojian tea given to the emperor and a few important people. You can't buy it outside even if you have money." Craftsman Yen was stunned. He picked up the cup and tasted it. He nodded and said, "It's indeed better than the one I bought. The package I bought also said premium. Why is the taste different? Did they fake it?" After drinking 2 sips of tea, Craftsman Yen felt like he was cheated and was angry. Yen Arian smiled and said, "It's not fake. The package says premium, so it's premium. It's just premium Maojian tea that can be bought and sold. It doesn't count those that can't be bought and sold. If you like it, you can take more when you leave." "Oh, I'm leaving. I'm in the manor now. It's time for me to go back to Yiying County. Why don't you give me good tea? You said you can't buy it. Where did you get this tea?" Craftsman Yen smacked his lips and savored the bitterness and sweetness of the tea. He was very happy that his younger brother was living a good life now. "It's from the Blue Sea Silver Sand. You're now the magistrate of Jili Province. Your benefits are better than mine. I won't use my own things to make up for it. I say I understand Governor Zhang, and I really do. How can I not understand the so-called enemy? It's a pity that I'm too bad as an opponent. He doesn't recognize me as an opponent. I've racked my brains to create some trouble, but he doesn't even look at me. I've worked myself to death and learned some skills. It's nothing more than a fool's dream to want to deal with Governor Zhang. Big brother, what do you want to know? I'll tell you what I know. After Yan Arian told him his original thoughts, he felt much more relaxed. It was as if he had put down a heavy burden. His words shocked Craftsman Yan. He began to look at his younger brother again. He wanted to see if his younger brother had 3 heads and 6 arms. He actually dared to go against Governor Zhang. After looking at him for a while, he lowered his voice and said, Arian, didn't the letter say that Governor Zhang likes you? Why did it change? Yan Arian smiled bitterly and said, How could he like me? Any random person from his family is better than me. It was the emperor who liked me. No, it was the emperor who liked him. He put me, a useless official, by their side to train them. I'm not the first one. The first one was a man named He Wei. Now he's a high-ranking official in Yaozhou. I came later. His Majesty wanted to see what they were capable of, so he threw me around them. After a while, the edges and corners in my heart were smoothed out. Before I came to Jili province, I wanted to make trouble for them. In the end, I didn't succeed. I didn't want to accept it, so I did my best to understand it. That's why I wrote to you about how to build the province. Don't worry, I've already given up on my previous plans. I'm going to follow them and be a good official. I won't be as reckless as before. When Craftsman Yan heard the last part of his brother's words, he wiped the cold sweat on his forehead. He let out a long breath and asked, How much do you know? A lot. I know that their family has a lot of money. They have a lot of shares in the Tang Bank. They also do business between the clouds and the water, between the clouds, blue sea silver sand, and the supermarket. They also do business on roads and bridges. They also have a fleet on the Yangtze River and the Yellow River, a fleet on the sea, and a land transport team. Luzhou is their world. They also have a huge force in Tubo's Jinchuan. They have a big ranch in Feng province. They have a winery and a ski resort in Wing province. There's no need to mention this place. In addition to these, I also know that they have a lot of weapons. Not all of them are exposed to the public. I know that the number 0 seedling protection team of their 2 families has started to form their own teams. They are trained to be generals. I know that all the servants in their family's inner court are very powerful. I know that there is an even more important matter that others do not understand. And that is that in my observations, I have discovered that they are not thinking about fighting with the officials of the Great Tang, nor are they thinking about competing with the merchants of the Great Tang. They want to solve all their problems at once, such as, Yan Er told his brother what he knew, but before he could finish, his mouth was covered by his brother's hand. Craftsman Yan looked around nervously. When he saw that there was no one else, his face turned yellow. He moved closer to his brother's ear and said, Second, let's not talk about what they want to do. If they want to rebel, they need evidence. Otherwise, trouble comes from the mouth. Brother, what are you talking about? Rebel? Who's rebelling? I didn't say that the Zhang family and the Wang family wanted to rebel. If they wanted to rebel, they would have done so long ago. With the strength of their 2 families, even if they don't directly become the emperor, they can at least control half of the country. What I want to say is, for example, they sent people to travel along the sea. It seems that they are looking for some very good things. From the people in their family's inner court, I heard that as long as they can find those things, our Tang won't have to fear any disasters in the future. Also, they want to turn all the places they can see into our Tang's land. Xinyuan Island is one of them, but there will be more in the future. For example, the Bohai Sea Commander-in-Chief's office. In the past, our dynasty couldn't directly control it, but now we can. They are currently attacking the Blackwater Commander-in-Chief's office. Once they take it, they will continue to occupy the north. What I want to say is that if you follow Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, you won't have to worry about not being able to become a high-ranking official. Wang Wan doesn't have to worry about losing a war. Even if they don't have the legendary mystical abilities, with just their weapons, others won't be able to defend their territory. Zhang Xiaobao's ability to build a territory has already reached the level of a demon. I've studied it before. Miraculously, no matter where they go, they can always find the local resources very quickly. There are coal mines, iron mines, gold, silver, copper, and so on, as well as all kinds of local specialties. For example, when I interplanted soybeans and sesame seeds in Shinsai County, they produce sesame oil. Sure enough, it's different. It tastes good and sells well. Yan Er's words left his brother dumbfounded. Craftsman Yan knew of the power of the Zhang family and the Wang family, but he didn't know so much about it. Only after hearing from his brother did he truly understand the power of the Zhang family and the Wang family. If that's the case, doesn't that mean they can turn stone into gold? No wonder the 9 children in their family can be so arrogant. At such a young age, they are already 4th-rank officials. Although they are not official, they are still officials. They can be impeached and can also be questioned. It turns out that the current emperor is afraid of them rebelling. Craftsman Yan felt a lot better. He no longer cared about why Xiao Bei and the others could be such high-ranking officials. Going back to the history, such a thing had never happened before. Yan Er shook his head. No, it has nothing to do with that. His Majesty is. Speaking of this, Yan Er lowered his voice. His Majesty feels that he owes the Zhang family and the Wang family too much. The 2 families have countless businesses, such as the Tracker Association on the Yangtze River, the Breeders Association in Jiannan, and the construction team in Jiannan. But they don't have a lot of money to spend. Little brother's not a lot refers to the proportion, not the actual amount. The money for the research on all sorts of powerful weapons is from their family. Many of the soldiers' benefits are from their family, not the imperial court, roads, bridges, or disaster relief. Wherever the Great Tang needs money, their family will take it, and not a small amount. His Majesty has obtained fame, all sorts of good technology, and land, so he will naturally compensate them. Thus, their family's power is slightly greater. Craftsman Yan suddenly understood. If his brother hadn't said this, he really wouldn't have known the situation. After thinking for a moment, he said, they do have a bit more power. For example, the rumors from the capital say that Zhang Zhong's position as minister was arranged by his family. For example, the transfer of my position was done with a single word. But if they do this, can their family really support the entire Great Tang? Will His Majesty tolerate a family like theirs in the Great Tang? Of course, they won't be able to support it for long. They are currently changing. One reason is to avoid His Majesty's suspicions, and the other is to gradually withdraw from this kind of financial support. For example, in Gemu province, they miraculously found a very large coal mine. I don't know how they were so accurate. After they found it, they started to contact others to mine it. It's the same for aluminum and other mines. They also transported all sorts of resources back from overseas. In the future, when there are other people to be officials in this place, they can split the benefits and have money. Naturally, they can support the local army. I heard from their family's inner court that in the future, the taxes will be directly managed by the capital and then sent back. Their family will then withdraw from this place. This way, they won't have to continue managing the conscripts, and His Majesty won't have to worry. Yan Er pointed to the north and told his brother about the large coal mine they found there. Craftsman Yan nodded woodenly. You really can turn stone into gold. You can find all sorts of mineral resources just by coming here. Amazing. Even more amazing is yet to come. Brother, have you heard of Kuanbu? Of course, it's good stuff. Many children in school are eating it now. It's said that eating it won't make one's neck grow longer. It's also written in the medical books. Why bring it up? Craftsman Yan looked at his younger brother with an expression that said, why do you have to ask your brother such a simple question? Then, do you know that Kuanbu can be planted? Do you know that the wood ear I usually ask people to bring back to my family is planted by their family? Have you seen the place where ginseng is planted? Have you seen the pearls that are planted? Yan Er asked one question after another. Every time he asked a question, Craftsman Yan would shake his head vigorously. When Yan Er was done, Craftsman Yan blinked and said in disbelief, don't tell Big Brother that they can grow these things. Yen Er did not say anything directly. Instead, he took out a box from his pocket and opened it, revealing a necklace made of pearls. He pushed it in front of his brother. Brother, this is a gift from your younger brother to sister-in-law. It's a reward for doing a good job in the county. These are the pearls that Lu Zhou cultivated for 3 years. There are also more than 10 bottles of pearl cream. I didn't bring them today. I'll ask someone to send them to you when I get back. When craftsman Yen saw the pearls in the box, he was completely dumbfounded. After a while, he recovered slightly. He picked up the pearls and examined them carefully. They were round and shone with a dazzling radiance. Under the illumination of the street lamps, they looked extraordinarily beautiful. Each pearl was about the same size, about 5 minutes long. It was not that he had never seen bigger pearls. Although he did not own one, he had seen more than 10 6-minute pearls placed together. However, those pearls were different from the ones in front of him. He had seen them before and knew that they were priceless. It was not easy to find them among the shells. The pearls he saw today were cultivated. If they could be cultivated, the pearls would not be as valuable as before. How could pearls be cultivated? How did the Zhang family and Wang family do it? When he thought of this, craftsman Yen asked, have the pearls lost their value? No. Apart from being used to make cosmetics and jewelry, most of the pearls are sent to the hospital and treated as medicinal herbs. Yes, medicinal herbs can also be planted. When I have time, I'll go to the seaside and take a look. I'll tell you where to plant kuenbu. Zhang Xiaobao and the others call it kelp. One of the spices in their restaurant is obtained from kelp. Second Yen seemed very excited. It was as if he was the one who had done all this. Craftsman Yen nodded in a daze. Okay. Asterisk. The stars in the sky were sparse and the moon was bright. Craftsman Yen had yet to recover from his shock when he returned to his own courtyard. Today, from what his younger brother told him, he completely understood the background of the Zhang family and the Wang family. He was not afraid of their influence. Instead, he was happy. He was so happy that his mind was in a daze. He liked to research all kinds of things. Researching things required a lot of money. If he succeeded, it would be fine. If he failed, he did not know how much money he would need to replenish it. From now on, as long as he followed Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, money would not be a problem. Just like what his younger brother said before they parted, if he followed the Zhang family and the Wang family, he would not have to think about other things. He would work hard and be loyal. In the future, as the territory expanded, he would need more officials. If he caught the eye of the Zhang family and the Wang family, it would be easy for him to become a provincial governor. He would work hard, whether it was for his interests or for his future position. Craftsman Yin made up his mind. He waved his fist and stood up, preparing to go outside to see the beauty of the nightless city. Unexpectedly, he met 2 people as soon as he stepped out of the door. It was a man and a woman. The man was handsome and the woman was beautiful. There was an indescribable indifference on his face. When he was easygoing, he gave people the feeling that he was a crane in a flock of chickens. No matter how he looked, he found them familiar. He rubbed his eyes and looked carefully under the light of the street lamps. Yes, he knew them. Provincial Governor Zhang, Adjunct Officer Wang, why are you 2 here? Craftsman Yen asked, puzzled. Magistrate Yen, you really want to go for a walk? Before I came, I made a bet with Xiaobao. I said that after drinking with your younger brother today, you should be tired and would go to bed early and come back tomorrow. Xiaobao said that you would definitely sit in the courtyard for a while, and then want to come out. Who would have thought that you would really come out? Wang Wan blushed slightly as she spoke. She glanced at Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao had a smug look on his face. It was unknown what the bet was. Craftsman Yin did not pay attention to other people's expressions. His own face had changed, becoming incomparably pale. Before he came out, he had been frightened by the conversation with his younger brother. He had not recovered yet. Now he was frightened again. Wasn't this too amazing? He could even predict whether he would go out or rest at night. Before he could even take a step out of the door, he was already blocked at the door. What else did they not know? No wonder his younger brother was so arrogant. With this kind of ability, he would not lower himself to his younger brother's level. When his younger brother did something, he did not need to send people to monitor him. Perhaps he could predict it with his fingers. Ah, the heavens, the earth. It was no wonder that they led the army to war or engaged in economic construction, and discovered all kinds of mines so smoothly. It turned out that it could be calculated. It was no wonder that His Majesty was so good to the two families. Presumably, His Majesty was aware of their abilities and might even calculate the fate of the country. The result must be good. Official Yen, what are you thinking about? Perfect, the two of us have something to say to you. Let's go out and take a look. At the current stage, they will be treated better than administrative officials. Our great Tang needs the rapid development of technology to leave other countries far behind. We need to build bigger ships and search for more useful resources overseas. As soon as Craftsman Yen heard this, he understood what Wang Wan meant. Wang Wan wanted him to be a technician because he had figured out the steam engine. He couldn't help but feel excited when he thought about how the things he made in the future could be as convenient as this electric light. He felt a great sense of achievement. Adjunct Wang, is my steam engine going to be used on the people soon? I will continue to improve it and try to make it smaller and easier to use. What benefits will the people get from it? In an instant, Craftsman Yen felt that he was very noble to be able to use the things he made on the people. Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao also admitted that Craftsman Yan's idea was noble, but the two of them couldn't follow Craftsman Yan's suggestion and use the steam engine on the people. Zhang Xiaobao glanced at Wang Wan and said to Craftsman Yan, Lord Yan, the steam engine is good, but it can't be used on the people right away. Then where should we use it? Craftsman Yan was surprised. Use it on warships. I'm sure Lord Yan has heard that we have a very powerful naval weapon called the gunboat. Wherever it goes, even ghosts and gods will retreat. However, the speed of the ship is still too slow, and it consumes a lot of manpower. A lot of space is wasted. If we put the steam engine on the ship will be faster and save the space needed to move the oars. We can also carry more cannonballs and hit whoever we want. Zhang Xiaobao explained to Craftsman Yan directly. Craftsman Yan opened his mouth and sighed. He said, so it's used to kill people. The invention of this technology isn't to immediately benefit the people? Yes, it's used to kill people. If people don't accept it, then kill them. If they accept it, then it's a deterrent. It's not directly benefiting the people, but it's still in the category of benefiting the people. Without powerful military force, how can the people live a stable life? Good technology should always be used on the military first, even if the creator of the technology didn't think so. For example, when my family made firecrackers, it was to prepare for cannonballs in the future. Now go to Tubo and say you're from the Great Tang. See if anyone dares to be disrespectful to you. Go to Xinhua and see if they dare to expel you and look down on you. Zhang Xiaobao was afraid that Craftsman Yan would give up being a technician. Such a talent was not easy to find, especially since Craftsman Yan's thinking was what Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan needed the most. Therefore, he gave an example when persuading him. Craftsman Yan lowered his head and thought for a moment. Then he raised his head and looked at the people walking on the streets. He nodded and said, they don't dare. They're already scared, especially Xinhua. Your Jili province is so close, and you can attack from both land and water. Plus, with Adjunct Wang's vengeful personality, they don't dare. Just like what Adjunct Wang said when he led the logistics camp in Yingzhou to kill the Tubo people, if you kill me, I'll slaughter your village. Thinking about it, the people who died in battle, the people who starved to death, and the hundreds of thousands of slaves who ran to your hands should be enough for each person to slaughter a village. Then Lord Yan, have you thought it through? When Wang Wan heard Craftsman Yan mention her, Wei Wei smiled and asked. Nodding, Craftsman Yan's gaze became firm. I've thought it through. I'll be a technician and strengthen the Tang army first. Hearing his answer, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan heaved a sigh of relief. In order to give Craftsman Yan some confidence, Zhang Xiaobao said, Lord Yan, actually the steam engine can not only be used on warships. If it's the mainstream of the Yangtze River and the Yellow River, it can also be used for civilian transportation and carrying people. Try it on warships first. If it's useful, We'll immediately put it on civilian ships. Then, it'll be more convenient to travel between the north and the south. Lord Yan, you should have heard of the Huayuan Express delivery. That's actually under our management. With a fast ship, it'll be more convenient to send goods and letters to the people who need them. Perhaps he was numb from the shock, but when he heard that the most powerful letter delivery organization in Great Tang was under the management of the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family, Craftsman Yan didn't show any surprise. Instead, he smiled. I know. My little brother wrote me letters in that direction. Back then, my little brother was afraid that you guys would find out about his letters, so he didn't dare to use the official route. I didn't expect that the other direction he took would still be under your control. I'll definitely study the steam engine properly. Wang Wan suddenly had an idea and added, Lord Yan, actually, there's one more thing that we haven't told you yet. After all, it requires too much money to support. However, I can promise you that as long as you can make the steam engine work well and not break down too often, we'll spend a lot of money on it. Can you tell me about it first? Craftsman Yan was curious. That thing is called a train. Why is it called that? Because it needs to ignite and release steam. It travels on 2 tracks, and its speed is very, very fast. It can travel at least 1,000 kilometers in 2 hours. Oh no, it can travel at least 70 to 80 li. It's very convenient whether it's transporting people or goods. Wang Wan almost told him the speed of the train she and Zhang Xiaobao used back then. 2 hours was 2 hours, so it wouldn't be a problem for it to travel 1,000 kilometers. Craftsman Yan, who had already thought that he wouldn't be surprised, couldn't help but widen his eyes. If it can travel 80 li in 2 hours, wouldn't it be faster than the 800 li express? Governor Zhang, Adjunct Wang, can you go ahead and tell this lowly official in detail? If someone else had said this, Craftsman Yan felt that he would have scoffed. Who were they trying to fool? Traveling 70 to 80 li in 2 hours meant that it would only take 40 to 50 days to travel from one side of Great Tang to the other. How was that possible? But when Wang Wan said this, and when he thought of the two's ability to calculate, even if he didn't think it was possible, it should still be possible. For a moment, Craftsman Yan couldn't hold back his curiosity, and insisted on dragging Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to a place so that they could talk about it in detail. Zhang Xiaobao glanced at the roadside and saw a big stall in front of him. The meat skewers on the stall were emitting light green smoke. There were also bowls of rice wine being served by the waiter from time to time. Many people were eating and drinking there despite the cold of spring. He said to Craftsman Yan, for example, go ahead and try the meat skewers as a check. If they dare to use bad meat, I'll get Xiaobei and the others to come over. Craftsman Yan knew that Zhang Xiaobao was joking. During the day, he had heard from his younger brother that the people of Jili province already regarded Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan as gods. No one would violate the rules set by the two of them, let alone use bad meat when roasting meat. Thinking of how Xiaobei and the others had come to find him not long ago, he smiled and said, yes, if Governor Zhang really went to find Xiaobei and the others, even if that person didn't have a problem, he would have said what he was thinking. At the time, I was so scared that I didn't even dare to hide it. They're just children, they only know how to fool around. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't have met such a formidable person like Official Yan. Let's go, it's my treat today. Zhang Xiaobao was also very happy to hear his younger brother and sister praised. Of course. Who told Governor Zhang to be so rich? Craftsman Yan followed over and found an empty table to sit down. He first ordered a pot of hot tea to warm himself up, then randomly chose a few skewers to roast. The three of them began to talk about the train. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.